McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
That's a great question. Good day, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, September 15th. And after that beat drop by Twine, shout out to you. And after 2 Monday Night Football games last night, we are now officially done with week 1 of the NFL regular season. Yeah. 16 more glorious weeks to go. And what did we learn last night is what everybody is asking. What did we learn on the first Monday Night Football? Well, Big Ben Roethlisberger is back. He started a bit slow, then he got cranking. Throwing for a couple tutters to the always litty Juju Smith-Schuster. Ben was limping a little bit, extending plays, taking shots, and throwing some reckless rocks. Big Ben was back in his happy place. And on the other side of the ball, that Steelers defense is still unbelievable. Couple opportunistic turnovers at the right time, massive collisions. Danny Dimes showed glimpses of greatness for the G-men, but that offensive line protecting him is going to be a problem this year. So much so that a banged-up Ben Roethlisberger actually outrushed Saquon Barkley. Giants are definitely in a rebuild, but that doesn't change the fact that it appears that the Steelers are all the way back, baby. Herb Street, Fowler, and Maria Taylor called that game in the empty Meadowlands Stadium. They were unbelievable, as expected. Maybe the most polished announcing crew there is, to be completely candid. Fowler got a couple names wrong, possibly because he's been calling the U.S. Open for the last 15 days, got dropped into a Monday Night Football booth, and now he goes back to college football. But other than that, good flow for the entirety. And it's the first time the internet has agreed on Monday Night Football's presentation in, a few years.
Yes.
Long spell. And in the second game of the doubleheader last night, the Tennessee Titans flew to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. The game felt like it kicked off at about midnight, and I doubt a lot of humans were able to stay up and watch the whole thing. But the big takeaways are that the Titans won, but didn't cover. Which is frustrating to all of us who bet on them because there was 10 points left on the board in the kicking game. A lot of folks are burying Super Bowl champion and all-pro kicker Stephen Gostkowski this morning for missing 3 field goals and an extra point. I assume nobody hates Stephen Gostkowski more this morning than Stephen Gostkowski, but he did hit the game winner, which is a little bit of a positive that could come from that particular department. Now, a lot of kickers missed kicks this weekend, okay? I know it, you know it. I have no idea why. I thought it was potentially jitters that they weren't able to shake off due to no preseason games, or the potential awkwardness of kicking with no fans in the stands. It feels like practice. And you should always take a look at the snap and the hold before burying the kicker, but this is the NFL. Mental toughness is the separator between good kickers and great kickers. There's a lot of people that can kick balls, not a lot of people that make the NFL. Then there's going to be a lot of movement on these rosters at the kicking position, but guys need to start making kicks. It's getting hard to keep making excuses for them out here on the internet streets. I'm getting buried just as much as they are getting buried because I've always gone to bat, but this year, it really feels like, for this first weekend, college and NFL. Now, granted, there's guys that are great. Justin Tucker hits one of the most pure balls in the history of hitting pure balls. Amen. He's still got it. There's still those elite, like maybe 5 guys at this point. I'm not even sure there's more than that. 5, and punters have been bombing balls. Like, obviously, the punters, we're holding up our end of the bargain because we're freak athletes. But the kicking department, it's getting bad. And that is something that I assume Gostkowski is going to address this morning. He addressed it immediately after the game, but he's not the only one. There was a lot of missed kicks, more so than I'd ever seen, and we'll talk about that during this show. Vic Fangio, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, also mismanaged his timeouts late. It was terrible. It's almost like the Mad Hatter from LSU was back coaching for the Denver Broncos. Just sat on 3 timeouts with the other team getting the ball with 4 minutes left. So that's 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. That's 4 stoppages of the clock. He goes to bed last night with 2 timeouts still, and Gostkowski kicking a field goal with like 19 seconds left to take the lead, leaving the Denver Broncos shit out of luck. So a lot of people are questioning his decisions. He came into a microphone at a press conference after the game and was very confident with what he did. And the rest of the world is very confident that what he was saying there was completely wrong. So the 2 storylines for the late game, missed kick and Vic Fangio being a dum-dum there at the end with his time management. Both of those things will hopefully be able to change. And if you watch the game just from a football stance, Drew Lock is eerily similar to Matt Stafford.
Love it.
He's got an absolute hose, seems to have good swagger. He seems to be confident. If that Denver Broncos team, which is young on the offensive side of the ball, they said the average age of that team was 25 years old. John Elway said he's all in on Drew Lock. That team's young. They got a lot of money. They're going to build. I think they potentially are a very, very good team here in the next few years. Now, granted, they got the Chiefs for the next 12 years they're going to have to deal with in their division, which is a problem. But I liked watching old Drew Lock play football last night. He's now 4-2 in his NFL career, and he looks very confident. Also, what we learned last night, Derrick Henry will wear your ass out all game long. First half, a lot of people are talking about Derrick Henry's done. This is why you don't pay running backs, some people are saying on the internet. Oh, the offense of last year won't work this year because Ryan Tannehill won't be able to use the play action because Derrick Henry isn't running as hard as he ran last year. Well, that's what Derrick Henry does. First half, he's just beating you up. And then in the second half, we are going to pop one, and we're going to pop another. And by the way, this defensive end that's playing running back is going to come all night long for the Tennessee Titans. That's why Mike Vrabel had a mask on before he got on the flight to fly to Mile High and said, please give the ball to Derrick Henry. That is something they'll be committed to. Will they be able to do that when they're down by a lot? That'll be the big question. Can somebody get the Titans down a lot? Will they still remain with Derrick Henry, grind and pound? I'm not sure. The games weren't the most exciting, but I think I speak for all of us when I'd say I'd rather watch bad NFL football than anything else on earth. It turns out we're not the only ones. The NFL debuted this weekend with the biggest number it's had in years. People said that the NFL ratings were tanking. Well, guess what? You are wrong. The NFL's ratings are actually skyrocketing. Things are going the opposite direction. By the way, there's people that hate football that wanted to see the ratings tank. And there's people that love football that wanted to see the ratings tank. Both sides wanted to see the ratings tank, but I think both sides watched to see what they were going to be mad about. And the ratings went through the roof. How you doing? Keep it moving. And the game has been good. Last night was a little bit boring, but now we're on to week 2. Now we are getting into the season. We will have picks all week for who we think you should hammer this weekend. I like the Patriots a lot against the Seattle Seahawks next week. Everybody's going to pick that. There's some early teasers. And today, Aaron Rodgers joins us in the 2 o'clock hour.
Let's go.
His first Tuesday with us that will extend all season long. Darren Woodson, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, he'll be here in a few minutes. And possibly a Kirk Herbstreit sighting in the second hour. I sent out a text. He said he might have something. Let me text you back, see if I can find some time in there. I said, Herbie, you let me know, bub. You just called a great Monday Night Football game. As did, by the way, Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, and Greasy. Greasy and Riddick sounded the exact same, which is interesting, but I think we all agree that it was light years ahead than it has been, and I think Steve Levy is an excellent play-by-play guy. Now, let's have a Tuesday. All the boys are here, dressed up in his best Yellowstone costume. At Tone Diggs is here. How's it going, pal?
Well, I'm just reporting I got to go round up some cattle after a show, so I figured I'd dress the part.
Today could have been terrible for you. You were already setting up a story for you not being able to come into work today because the Steelers started slow, but then they figured it out later. If you would have lost to Danny Dimes in that particular Giants team with that particular offensive line, it would have been a tough day to be a Steelers fan. And I'm happy they got the win because it's great to see you all dressed up as if it's Halloween in here on this beautiful September 15th.
Well, I said I was going to have to call off because some fucking stooge reporter said that Ben was out and Mason Rudolph was warming up on the sideline. And then 2 minutes later, he was like, everyone relax. Like, guy, you put out the fucking news, okay? And then that was I wasn't going to come in today if Ben was out.
Ben's out. That's going to be tough. He was limping very early. Before he even made his first pass completion, I believe, he was already limping, which in my eyes, like, okay, Ben is back. He's taking shots. He's extending plays. He had a couple airmails early. He was like kind of feeling his way back. He said he was going to be shaking because he was nervous. After the game, he said he had a lot of people to thank. First and foremost,
God.
His Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ wasn't there for the first quarter for him, but he came in there second, third, fourth quarter. He looked very good. And with that Steelers defense, I mentioned to it, they look unbelievable. They look just like the team last year that took an offense that didn't really do anything almost to the playoffs. That Steelers, if you're a Steelers fan, you have to feel very good. I don't know why Boz missed an extra point and kicked the kickoff out of bounds. Figure it out, Boz. He's one of the best kickers that the NFL's got. I mean, there was a problem there, but Steelers fans got to feel very good about this year as opposed to what was going on last year.
Feel very good. The defense was the defense. Saquon with 6 yards or whatever. But Ben, it was eerily similar. He did that terrible documentary in the first episode, and he was talking about, I believe, the Seahawks game and how, like, the first half they were just trying to figure it out. And then when they got in a 2-minute, he was calling plays. He figured it out. The same exact thing happened last night because Randy Fichtner is the worst offensive coordinator.
Jeez, dude.
In football, in any age group.
Okay, so Randy Fichtner, offense coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was hired because he's friends with Ben Roethlisberger, right? So he gets a job last year. Ben Roethlisberger obviously has the tennis elbow or whatever other elbows you would like to infer it to. So he had to call his whole first season as an offense coordinator with Mason Rudolph and old Ducky Hodges, who's currently now on the practice squad. Mason Rudolph is now the backup. This year, they're going to have to figure it out again, by the way. There's going to have to be a remolding. But last year, his play calls, I believe, were a little bit different because of who he had playing quarterback. Let's assume he opens it up a little bit because they did look a little soft early, as if Roethlisberger couldn't throw the damn ball.
He's been there. I think he's been there a few. He loves the shotgun toss, which gets shoved up his ass every single time. But he just continues. He just continues to absolutely run it. But hey, Benny Snell football's back, baby.
Hey, Benny Snell from the University of Kentucky, he runs very hard. I think James Conner had a sprained ankle, but Benny Snell was going ham. I believe Pittsburgh's probably happy for that. And by the way, you know Benny Snell owns a racehorse.
Did not.
Yeah, it's called Snellia.
Oh,
yeah.
burners.
I checked out his Instagram today because I was like, I feel like Benny Snell is probably going to be a name that we're going to hear here for the Pittsburgh Steelers going forward. He runs very hard. Went to the University of Kentucky. I believe he has a horse race.
Tomlin loves him. I know Tomlin loves him, which is huge.
Well, Snell you later, pal. That's his actual Instagram and his Twitter handle, I believe, is Snell you later. So I like the way this guy operates. At Boston Connors here, looking like a buffoon. How's it going, pal?
Fantastic. Don't look like a buffoon. That was a Craig Shager undershirt. Support him, not his son.
okay. Easy, dude.
The Larry Bird Hardwood Classic Game 1 tonight. Eastern Conference Finals. Basketball is still, in fact, on, even though no one cares.
Yeah, the NBA's, their ratings were allegedly in the crapper.
The gutter.
Right, in the gutter. Because I do believe that the NBA is consumed in a different fashion. The NBA is consumed via social media. That's how I consume the NBA, is via social media. Whether it's the players posting inside looks at their presidential suites that they're staying in with 45 bottles of wine cracked open like a LeBron James, or if it's highlights that are shown on every single account that shares any sports accounts, you can kind of see the way the entire game goes. In the NBA, it always is one team's up, another team catches up. Then the last 5 minutes, both teams are in it. It's always the same game. And you watch it on Twitter or you watch it on social media, you keep up with it. So it made sense that the ratings were tanking. But then I started thinking, like, well, is that going to happen to every sport? Like, is every sport just going to be consumed by highlights on the internet and not watch things and with people cutting cord? And it turns out the NFL is like, nah, people are watching sports still. You just gotta get past the ones that are only highlight driven. This is a team game over here, the NFL said.
NFL's king. It always will be. I mean, there's Game 7 tonight. No one even gives a damn. But last night for the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy is unbelievable.
He looks like he's freakishly fast, explosive as well, and he runs great routes, which has always been talked about. Drew Lock and he are going to be a little tag team for a long, long time. Cortland Sutton was out, obviously, so that puts a lot more pressure on him. Melvin Gordon fumbles the rock there, gives away some points, but Philip Lindsay had a great year, I think, the last couple of years, and he's kind of just been put on the back burner. I'd assume they're going to go a little bit both because I think Melvin Gordon...
Co-starters. They are technically co-starters.
Well, I watched the first half of that game last night, then woke up this morning, watched the second half, and I saw a lot of Melvin Gordon there early as if he was the starter, and then Philip Lindsay kind of got filtered in a little bit as the game went on. But that's an interesting dynamic over there. But I like Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock a lot. Good football.
Yeah.
Good
Noah
football.
Fant also had a very good game last night.
At Ty Schmidt, he scored, I believe.
Another Iowa tight end.
Yeah, Drew Lock is he slings it now.
He's fun to watch.
The comparison to Stafford is perfect.
He really is. He felt like Stafford when I was watching.
Very confident.
Yeah.
Big arm.
Massive arm.
Team that's probably going to let him down.
You think John Elway's going to let him down there?
Did you see the stat last night that...
Oh, John Elway's got a book just burying Tim Tebow. There's a book out right now, I guess, of John Elway and his staff are just burying Tim Tebow. I guess so, yeah.
Tim? The Tim that we met?
The Tim that we know.
Yeah.
The Tim that we know, yeah. I guess behind the scenes of the Broncos, some other stories are being told, I guess, in this book that came out. But John Elway, I think he's pumped that he's got Drew Lock. They said last night early, Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, and Brian Greasy, who I thought they did a good job, by the way. I think putting them on after Herb Street and Fowler was a little bit aggressive.
Tough call.
Tough call. People with big brains are making those decisions. You have them follow potentially the most polished play-by-play and commentator in all of football, potentially. Yeah. Like, they're just a polished operation. You know exactly what you're going to get with them, okay? Herb Street's going to be very smooth. Fowler's going to be very professional. Here we go. We got this. And then you got this brand-new team that has been named to the Monday Night Football booth to go immediately after them. By the way, you're starting at midnight when people are tired already.
No one's watching.
But I thought they did good. But what we just did there was a massive compliment to Fowler and Herb Street. That's because they are so damn good. But I thought watching Drew Lock was awesome. I really did. I enjoyed it. And the way they were talking about how John Elway believes in Drew Lock, he's like, hey, we're going to give this guy the keys, basically. I think it's a smart move. Got to keep up with Patty Mahomes, though. At Ty Schmidt, we have your hero, Aaron Rodgers, joining us in the third hour at 2:05 Eastern Daylight Time. What do you want to hear out of Aaron Rodgers today?
I really want to know what – a lot of people were talking about what he was drinking on the sideline. He had some sort of purple drink in just a random bottle. So I want to know if he's trotting that thing around like Aaron's secret stuff, like Space Jam, maybe squirting that in some guy's mouth. I don't know. I want to all sport, little hugs maybe.
What if it's lean? What if it's lean?
Well, that would be awesome.
Even better. What if it's purple drink? What if he has Skittles in there, nobody can see, and he's out there just scissor all over the field?
That would be great. I would respect him tenfold more.
He looks like he's throwing the ball harder and faster than he's ever thrown.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like he's in better shape than he's ever been in his entire life. Well, that's what I want to talk to him about. Like, what did you do this offseason that makes you almost look faster, more rejuvenated? Is it because of the draft pick? Did it kind of make you just think, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with anything, I'm just going to play football? Like, or was it an actual physical body plan that you went on? Because I would like to know what it is. Probably not going to be able to stick to it. Right now, we're finding out whether or not cardio can keep up with my consumption of calories, okay? Because I like eating a lot. Last night, I took down an entire double stuffed Oreo pack. With milk. It was skim, though. Be smart.
There we go.
Wow. But they say you do cardio, you can eat whatever you want.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You can eat whatever. That's why everybody's told me he was in shape. Like, hey, you do cardio, you can eat whatever. I'm doing cardio every day. I'm starting to get a little fatter, but I was on keto whenever I was doing it before. So I assume there would be some carb fat that would come with it. But we are going to find out whether or not my math can beat my legs or not. And that is going to be a telltale sign here, or a telltale sign here for this fall, whether or not I become a fat ass. But Aaron Rodgers looks like he's on a perfect plan over there. He looks very good.
Yeah, and it will be interesting because he did mention last week that his arm feels better than it has.
Never hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But you never really know what to expect with that. I'd also be interested to hear, because I think he mentioned that he thinks it might be easier to draw guys off sides with the hard count in the empty stadiums, because he got like 3 of them against the Vikings. So I wonder if there is any difference to that with no one being in the stands.
I forgot who was calling the game, and it might have been last night. A lot of guys have been getting guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, as a defensive lineman, their entire job, right, is you watch the ball, okay? You watch the ball. You're not even listening to anything. Go ahead and don't even listen to anything. You watch the ball. If I am on the tip of my fingertips, you know what I mean? The tip of my fingertips. If I'm on my fingertips and I weigh 280 pounds, 275 pounds, and it's 3rd and long, and I know I have to beat this tackle who's making $100 million to do what they're doing, it's going to take a lot of discipline not to move on when somebody, oh my God, because there's just like I am so impressed by that. And offensive linemen, on the flip side, they're not even allowed to scratch like their leg whenever they get lined up. You have to be completely still, and if not, ball start. It's those two, the amount of discipline that it takes on both sides immediately before vicious contact is insane. But the fact there is no crowd noise, I would assume that you could do. I took a lot of pride in being able to drop people off sides on field goals. A lot of it takes, by the way, from the gut. You guys know, I learned that from my brother was in a goth band. A screamo band.
Goth?
I don't know if they were goth. What were they, Jay? What were you guys technically?
Like a screaming metal band.
Yeah, screaming metal band.
Jay's a big screamer, too.
Yeah,
He's always
big screamer.
Death metal, I guess.
So I'd be Jay never talks. He was the drummer, and he had to do it was a double bass drum, right? So he had to like sprint a marathon throughout the show, basically, because he had to because that's the way the music is. Yeah, that type of music. I would living in Indianapolis, obviously working. I come home one off season, or I forget when I came home, and my dad, like, excited. He's like, "Did you hear what Jay's doing? You hear what Jay's doing?" And I was like, "No, what's Jay doing?" He's like, "Oh, ask Jay what he's doing." And then my mom's like, "Do you hear what Jay's doing?" I'm like, No. So I go ask Jay. I'm like, "Jay, what are you up to?" He's like, "Oh, I joined a band or whatever." I'm like, "Jay, you play a musical instrument?" He's like, "Oh, they're having me play the drums." So Jay never played the drums before this. What? He was just a tappy son of a bitch. So just tap, 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 tap. So I was like, "You're in a band? And that's awesome. You're playing drums." I was like, "What type of band?" He was like, "Oh, we're like a metal scream band." I'm like, "Oh man, cool. Like, good for you." Like, I was happy for him. So then I go to a show. And you got dudes in eyeliner. You got like all black and
Juggalos.
It was I don't know if there was any juggalos there, but this was they got after it. And the lead singer had the most what's the ability to withstand for a long time? Like the most endurance on his yell. This dude yelled for an hour straight.
Big diaphragm.
Like just yelled for an hour straight. And Jay ran for an hour straight on that bass. And I asked him, I'm like, his formerly goes by Broken Wings, by the way. It was a stage.
Nice.
So I go, "Mr. Broken Wings," I go, "How do you do that for an hour? Like, how do you not lose your voice?" He's like, "Oh, you got to go from your diaphragm or whatever. You got to go from your diaphragm." And I was like, "Okay." And he like was starting to teach me, Next year I took that into I took Broken Wings' knowledge onto the field. Wow. Yeah, I got like 2 people to jump off sides. I got another one to jump off sides, but Walt Anderson's an asshole and he called it on me. But Broken Wings of a scream metal band that my brother just picked up one off season was a reason why I started getting good inflection and good on people, and it was magical. And I got everybody in training camp because there's nobody. It's like the stadium is currently. I got people at training camp like the first 4 days, like just people knew it was coming, and I was just like, hey, hey! And it was just full on. So I would assume Aaron feels the exact same way. I took so much pride in it, and like. Obviously, it takes a lot of work and practice. And you have to have a kicker that won't budge. Yeah. Like Vinatieri wasn't even budging. He
probably didn't hear you.
Yeah, he didn't even know that I was doing it. But the offensive line, that's something where they're very tired on field goal reps. Yeah. And they're about to just get run over. So, like, the games of, like, hey, we're going to go on 3 this time, like, wasn't always well received by
Shot the ball.
But I would have to sell it to him. I'd have to be like, like, hey, listen, if we go on 3 one time, we go on 1 next time, these guys are going to be on their heels a little bit. They're not going to blow you up as much. And they're like, yeah, that's right. You're true. It's very true. But we're going to be very tired. So make sure you're very clear on what number we're going on. I was like, oh, you got it. So I come jogging on the field yelling these things. And the other team would know something was happening. But all you need is one rookie corner that's supposed to be on the edge. And I would like actually scan and I'd see him like up on. I'm like, oh, there's a guy. Oh, I got a guy over there. Got a guy. It was awesome, yeah. And then normally they would it's only a matter of time you get them, but.
Shout out Mr. Broken Wings.
Shout out Broken Wings, dude.
And who knew Jay is Beethoven? He can just pick up drums and just play instruments like that?
You know, Jay was tapping on things my entire life, okay? It actually, Jason McAfee's here, by the way. Mr. Mansuri's here. Evan Fox is here. Frank Maraldo, Gumpy, Billy Tubes, and on the casting couch, the voice of the internet at Viva La Zeta. Your poll today is?
It is, will kickers stink forever?
Okay, all right. So the answer so far with 900 votes, 67.1% people say yes, that is tough.
I don't like that.
We'll keep up with that, and we'll talk to Darren Woodson on the other side of the break here. Shout out to Broken Wings.
Shout out.
And Tappy J, my entire life I just got ruined with that thing. Everywhere we went, just...
He loves tapping.
Hey, Jay, can it?
And by the way, it's the reason why I am the way I am now. Like, if I hear people like tapping or something, I just eat these nightmares like 3 a.m.
Oh, solitaire.
Solitaire, him clicking. He's a very good drummer, by the way. Just picked it up. Probably should have been doing his whole life, to be honest with you.
Good at all instruments.
Jay Mozart.
25 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a break. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Darren Woodson and your calls on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, September 15th. I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on the team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around and I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow Airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane, lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good, and I think that happens for a lot of NFL players.
Doing it for the brand. It's the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Nailed it. Just such a good bumper show. This is a professional show.
Oh, yeah.
I guess there's still people on Mad Dog Radio bitching about us.
Still?
Yeah, I guess.
Nah.
What are you
We
gonna
had a
do?
great show yesterday. Wait
them
till you
bitch.
hear the conversation we're about to have. Three-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and in the Cowboys Ring of Honor, ladies and gentlemen, Darren Woodson.
Yeah! Boy, Darren!
What's up, man?
What's up?
I just read through your list there, and every time I do it, while I'm in the middle of it, I go, damn, this guy was fucking good at the football. Every single time.
Hey, you know what? Damn, how long has it been since the Cowboys have been there? That's a long ass time.
Oh, let's talk about it. Same old Cowboys. Hey, same old Cowboys, Darren Woodson. That team on Sunday Night Football, by the way, Jerry Jones is going to get Sunday Night Football on opening night if he was a part of building a $5 billion stadium in his backyard, and he's going to debut on that thing. That team just did not look interesting. And you listen to all the sports talk conversation about them, Darren, it's like, hey, the offense was a dud. This was this. They got hurt. It's the same old Cowboys, new head coach. How is it down in Dallas? Is it the world is on fire, or they have faith that the team's going to be able to turn around because there's so much talent there?
I think there's still faith there. And again, listen, let's throw out everything here that's out there as far as, no one had a training camp. Not a single team went through the physical aspect of getting ready for the season opening game.
Okay.
My issue with the Cowboys was the same thing that we saw last year, and it wasn't so much about effort or the skilled players. It was about the line of scrimmage and winning the line of scrimmage. The physical part of the game was exactly what we've been seeing the last couple of years. They got punched in the mouth both offensively and defensively. And they were not, this is just what it was. They weren't the better team on Sunday. They weren't the more physical team on Sunday. The Rams were the more physical team. They came to play. There was a confidence and a swagger about them. The Cowboys could never match that energy. Had opportunities at the end, but you have to win. We can talk about all the skill positions, the Amari Cooper and the Ezekiel Elliott's and, CeeDee Lamb and all these weapons that they have. But if you don't win in the trenches and you don't block and tackle, you're going to have some problems, and that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, so great point there. You always win with the big guys. It doesn't get talked about enough because their names aren't really known because it's not really that glorified of a position because it's just hand-to-hand combat, one fight, other person. But wouldn't you think if you're the Dallas Cowboys, and this is happening in college football and in the NFL in some places, where guys haven't been able to just flip the switch, like, oh, hey, this means something. And Aaron talked to us about this before season. Aaron Rodgers told us before the season even kicked off. He was like, a lot of guys are going to have to flip the switch and be like, hey, this means something now. Like, every rep means something. Don't you think, though, if you had to go against Aaron Donald week 1, somehow, some way, you'd be like, hey, there is a physical specimen that the world might never see again going against us. We're going to have to turn this up. Because it did seem like, you said they got punched in the mouth. It seemed like they were getting blindsided, too, that they didn't know that was even coming. And how do you even prepare for that without practice? Is that all mental, or is that things that you actually need reps and you would assume that they're going to get better as you go? Or is that the Cowboys this year on the offensive line?
Look, I think they get better as they go, and you need those reps. He just didn't have – okay, listen, it's almost like day one. You're at training camp, and you're going half speed half the time, and then the switch comes on, and now you have to see Aaron Donald, who's an absolute beast. And thank God we only have to see him hopefully just one time this year. But at the same time, you know what's going to be in front of you. You know that. So mentally, I've been in those situations knowing that I had Jerry Rice on the other side of the ball. I know that I have Randy Moss on the opposite side of the ball. And in doing so, it doesn't matter how many reps I have. Mentally, I have to get there. And that's the thing that I saw this week. When you got Connor Williams, Zach Martin's an all-pro. Gave up his first sack, of the season. And it was early to Aaron Donald. That switch has to be on, man. You listen, double his ass, figure it out, but he shouldn't be the guy that beats you. He should not be the guy that beats you. Let Brockers beat you, but don't let Aaron Donalds beat you.
Yeah, he's circled by every team. Like, hey, this is the guy. All right. And by the entire NFL, and they know it too. And even in production rooms, they just have a camera on him the entire time. They're like, hey, this is the guy that we're going to watch. Everything he does, we see. So it would be surprising that he wouldn't get doubled or taken care of, but he's a game wrecker. That's what game wreckers do. I want to go back to you flexing there for a little bit about your career, where you said Jerry Rice was on the other side of Randy Moss. Which one would you rather go against if you had one last rep and it was in your prime and in their primes? Would you rather go against Jerry, or would you rather go against Jerry?
Jerry's the GOAT. Jerry is the GOAT. Best receiver. He and, I always say I saw the best of the best every day, and that was Michael Irvin. Every day at practice, Michael Irvin was sharpening us. But if we're talking overall stat-wise, you always know Jerry's that guy. But in any particular game, if it was one game that I had and I knew that I didn't want to see him, it would be Randy Moss. Because you could have Randy Moss covered, and it was over. You felt like it was over. He's covered. They're not going to look his way. We're doubling him. They're not going to look his way. And then the ball's in the air. And I can't tell you how many times I was on the opposite end of watching that ball in the air and going, oh, my God, he's going to catch this thing. Like, I'm talking during the game, ball in the air, and I've already lost the battle, because he's going to go up at 6'4" and make a play. And that's something that we hadn't seen in that time period. We had in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, we hadn't seen that. And then Randy Moss comes in, and then you see the Calvin Johnsons, and then DeAndre Hopkins, and all these tall receivers, Green, and all these other guys. But Randy Moss was the first that we actually saw go up and get it and be that athletic.
And it's still, by the way, talked about Randy, or getting mossed is something that is still lives this day. And I feel like if Randy really wanted to, let's say somehow, some way, Randy ended up completely broke because he invested in floating furniture like Mark Brunell. I think Randy could make a team right now and play if he wanted to, and probably will be able to for the rest of his life. I would shit my pants if I had to line up against Randy Moss, and paychecks were on the line. Like, hey, okay, that guy's job's on the line with me having to do this. It's impressive stuff. Did you think football this weekend was ugly, or did you think it was better than you expected to be, with no physicality really in any practices, with people not even being able to really sit in meeting rooms together? Did it exceed your expectations of what the football level was going to be, or was it worse?
I expected it this way. Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I saw some really good games this past week. I tuned in early on and saw the Eagles and the Redskins game, and I honestly thought that game was over with.
Oh, yeah.
And, in the second half, you saw a Redskins team that just came to life.
Whoa, Darren.
Washington
football team.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm no longer at ESPN. They're no longer holding my hand. So you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. The Washington football team. How many years have I been playing against that team?
Yeah.
And I called them exactly that name.
Yeah,
So
San
I'm
Diego
sorry.
Chargers still to this day, by the way. Yeah. And Oakland Raiders. I mean, that LV on the thing was very, it was interesting to see. But you're right. The game's changing. Hey, world's changing. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep up. On this show, Darren, we get facts right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, again, man, going back to the Washington football team.
Nailed
They
it.
played extremely well in that second half. And that's a team that could have easily have laid it down. So, I'm excited about the season. I know they didn't have a whole lot. We dealt with COVID. We dealt with the guys not really interacting. We dealt with coaches being away from the players for a long time. But, week one to me was an exciting time. And I don't know if it's just me being ready for the NFL to come around, but I didn't see much of a drop-off. I didn't see the fans. Of course, you didn't get that part of it. But it was football back to its norm. And, man, I enjoyed every minute of it.
I think some of those crowd controller noise people need to tighten up.
Figure it out.
For sure.
Because there's some really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like last night, for instance, there was a couple good plays. Whenever Danny Dimes dropped a dime to Darius Slayton, they turned up the crowd noise right before Darius Slayton got it. And it felt like a fan saw that he was open and were like, they went crazy. I was like, oh, my God, it felt like I was there. Then there were some times where it was like, oh, this is bad. Like, somebody needs to pay attention here for a second. Diggs, what do you got?
Darren, my favorite question of this week is how long does Mike McCarthy sit there and not take over calling plays, or is Jerry going to keep it the way it is and have Mike McCarthy just sitting there holding his crank?
You know what? I think it's Kellen Moore right now has been anointed the offensive coordinator, and you can't tell me if they start to struggle or continue to struggle. And which, look, man, offensively, outside of up front getting beat up a little bit, and they're playing without a couple players, playing out without Lyle Collins, and then Jarwin gets hurt, but. They weren't as physical up front, but you can't. I thought they played well. I thought Ezekiel Elliott played extremely well. I thought Dak moved the ball and drove the ball down the field extremely well in the first three quarters of the game. So, I'm not going to give Kellen Moore a lot of the blame, but if they struggle throughout the season, Mike McCarthy is an offensive mind. You better believe he's probably going to take over at some point in the season if Kellen Moore if they continue to struggle offensively. But I still think there's a lot of growth with this offense, and I'm optimistic, guys. Looked bad this past week, but that was game one. Hell, I've played in game ones where we looked like garbage and then end up winning the Super Bowl. So, hopefully those things turn around, but I have a lot of faith in Kellen Moore moving forward.
Well, you're literally in an office that's inside of the Dallas Cowboys building, though. So
I'm not. Come on, man.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you actually changed the way I view the entire Dallas Cowboys, actually. Because your ability to just overlook the practice field. My last question here for you is, were you surprised that the jerseys without numbers or names didn't work and get them a W in the first week? Was that a surprise to you?
That was a surprise, man.
Yeah, okay.
No, they're not.
That was wild. Was that outside of your office where that was happening? And for this is 100% real. What did you think of that entire thing? Was that Mike McCarthy coming down there realizing how much access people have to the practices, whether it's media or fans or anything like that?
Man,
and him going, hey, we cannot have this happen anymore. Do you think there is a real change of culture?
Yeah, Pat, look, this has been the case with the Cowboys since, especially I would say since Jimmy Johnson was fired and let go. There's been a ton of access to everything, practice, lunch, to anything you want, and that's how the Joneses sell the brand, and that's how the sponsors have a ton of access, and the local fans have a ton of access to watch the Cowboys. I think it was Mike McCarthy saying, "Look, we have to put a halt to this." And it's what surprised me in this is that Jerry actually allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
That was the biggest surprise because it's been the norm around here as far as access. And when they shut it down, I had to applaud Mike McCarthy because it showed that he has some power moving forward and his word means something.
Well, and by the way, secrecy is massive in the NFL. Every little piece of information is a massive edge. So the fact that that's been going on down there, whenever you told us about the overlook and then the local media was upset that they weren't able to shoot the entire practice, I was like, they shoot the entire practice? Like that is, yes. I was like mind blown by it. And I can't believe that's what but that's why the Cowboys are the wealthiest franchise in the world. I think it's like
Call it what you want. You were about to say America's team. That's what you're about to say, Pat. Go ahead and say it.
no, this is America's show, so we wouldn't say that. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champion, All-Pro from the Dallas Cowboys, Darren Woodson. Thank you, Darren.
Good seeing you, fellas.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, that was wild to me.
It still is.
Whenever he was, and I made a big deal out of it, and a lot of people came after me. They're like, stop talking about Darren Woodson's office being everything on Twitter. I got like more than 15 a day every time I mention it. People tell me not to talk about it. It's like, that's a massive deal. Like the fact that media, right, just gets access to the entire practice. So now you're banking that the media that's there, okay, is just 100% in on the Cowboys being good.
Yes.
And doesn't have any potential lean to another team that you're playing against who could potentially get access to that camera. And that type of stuff is locked down, at least where I've been. Now, there might be other places that aren't like that, and it makes sense that the sponsors would want that. We started having sponsors on our planes. They would fly on the front of it and everything like that. Like that started happening. But the whole practice just being able to be filmed by whoever, whenever, is just wild. I didn't even know that. And if Mike McCarthy's shutting that down, now granted, they had Aaron Donald, which wrecked the game, and it would probably be difficult to jump back into a physicality pool and have to be swimming against Aaron Donald week one. I assume that the Cowboys are going to look different next week than they did last week. But that type of shit is just wild to me.
Do you think that potentially, like the Cowboys will go after? God, sorry, I'm blanking. Yeah.
Who?
Ertz.
Yeah, Ertz, or something like that, because they like the tight end's a big part of their offense.
Big part. Mike McCarthy loves tight end. The thought, Kellen Moore loves tight end. The thought of Zach Ertz potentially leaving the Eagles and going to somebody inside the division would be wild. The thing that nobody wants to see happen. And you can talk about how, oh, by the way, sidebar, please, Foxy. We are a live show here, 43 minutes into the first hour.
There we go.
We have our sidebar here. I think we covered a lot of the things that are currently on there thus far. But the thing that nobody wants to see happen with the players who are already unsatisfied with the teams that they're on, we know there's an animated conversation between Howie Roseman and Zach Ertz last week. Then today, big news on the internet.
Huge.
Allen Robinson of the Chicago Bears. He has eliminated and erased all of his Chicago Bear connection to his social media pages.
Oh, no.
We saw this done by Stephon Diggs. Guess what? Stephon Diggs, gone. You saw this by Julio Jones. Julio Jones then got a massive extension. Atlanta Falcons came back in there. So something's cooking with Allen Robinson. I don't know if it's an extension or if he wants more ball. I would assume it's both of those things. He has erased the Chicago Bears from his social media page. So then you have to know, especially after talking to the old Bean up there in the Bills Mafia, he said as a general manager, he's got to build a good team. By the way, the Bills are a good team. Will they be able to get out of the AFC East? We shall see. They were able to last year. Will they be able to do it again? We shall see. He said that he'll keep his nose to the ground around the NFL. If he sees somebody that's potentially not happy in the situation that they're in, he'll give a call. And I assume he's not the only GM doing that. That's like, hey, see, you're having a little bit of an issue there, Mr. Pace, with Allen Robinson. You thinking about moving? You thinking about moving him at all? You need something? Hey. And then normally it's like, no. And then like a day later, like, hey, see, maybe cooler heads have prevailed here. You thinking about moving Allen Robinson?
Come on.
And I would be very surprised and shocked, and the world would hate it, if a team who happens to just open up some cap space, who potentially needs a tight end and another weapon, were to go make a move for these two potentially unhappy characters who are at their teams, Zach Ertz and Allen Robinson. If they end up at the Patriots, the whole world shits all over themselves.
It's happened before. It wouldn't be the first time we make a move for a big player, early on in the season. It would be nice to have another weapon for Cam Newton.
Let's go to Joe in Jersey. What's going on, Joe in Jersey? Diner.
What's happening, brother? How you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm all right. I just want to start out by saying thank you for helping me survive a horrible off-season for football.
Hey, thank you for helping us, too. Hey, we're in this together, Joe. We appreciate you, bub.
Yes, sir. I just want to say I'm a Steelers fan out here living right outside of Philly, so watching these guys lose the other day and choke on a big fat bag of dicks was pretty good.
Jeez. All right. Good news, Joe. You really want in there?
That's Jersey, baby.
Oh, yeah. Also want to say that I like everything I saw last night out of the Steelers. Only comment I gotta say is James Conner has to get brought out to the shed and put one back.
Oh, jeez. This guy. Jersey. This guy.
That's a glimpse into the life of Jersey.
James Conner does not deserve that. He got hurt early. Okay, guy had a sprained ankle, they said. That is what the medical report's coming out. He did not appear to succeed early there, but the Steelers' offense didn't, by the way. So it's not just James Conner. There was one particular play early where James Conner, I think it was an outside zone to the left, and after he got tackled, I think for a 2-yard loss, he looked over at the sideline and raised his hands. It felt like James Conner wasn't exactly thrilled with the play calling that was happening for him. I assume there was a couple plays where he wanted to get going a little bit and everything was kind of misdirection, but then he sprains his ankle, he's out, and Benny Snell runs his ass off. I did not know Benny Snell ran like that. He is a pissed off, angry runner. Okay, he is not happy.
He dropped like 15 pounds this offseason too. He was like 225. He's like 210 now.
There's a couple times where I've had to square off with some angry runners, and it is not good. Antonio Cromartie, he runs like an actual Clydesdale. His knees go up to his chin when he's running, and it was on a kickoff return, so he's at full stride. And I went in there to tackle him, and he kneed me in the jaw 5 times. Boom, bang, boom, bang, boom, boom, down. Okay, tackled him though. No big deal. How you doing? Keep it moving. Jaw just potentially lost all my teeth there, but I don't know how it didn't happen. Whole mouth was sore. Shattered. Go to the sideline, obviously, like, how was it? It was like terrible. Yeah, saw he got beat up there a little bit by his knees. I was like, yeah, that guy is maybe the most angry runner I've ever seen. And I forgot, Des Bryant is a very, very angry runner, that guy. Not as fast as everybody else, but he runs violently. And I hit a ball to him on a punt return, I believe, and he got down the sideline. And I remember looking at him just going like, that's a big body. I am not supposed to tackle this guy.
Go out of bounds, go out of bounds.
I did, by the way, but I mean, it hurt. But Benny Snell is one of those runners. He's a pissed off runner. And that just sets the tone for the entire team. Last night, there was a couple of plays that weren't supposed to work, but Benny Snell was running people over. That's like what Derrick Henry does, by the way. Derrick Henry picked up 2 yards last night on what was supposed to be a 4-yard loss just because he keeps pounding. And the lack of patience by the internet for Derrick Henry in that first half was outrageous. They're like, he's not doing it. He looks slow. He missed a step. And it's like, this is literally what. Hey, this is just like, hey, we're just beating them up right now. And then as soon as they get tired, boom, here comes Derrick Henry. And if Stephen Gostkowski has a Stephen Gostkowski day, 1 missed extra point, but makes all the other stuff, I mean, they win by 11. That is a big win for them last night, and that is their game plan to a T. Like, hey, we're going to ground this thing out. We're going to win. We're going to make kicks, hopefully. They haven't been able to do it for the last couple of years. But that is a problem when you got a defensive end playing running back and they give the ball to him.
To Stephen Gostkowski's missing kicks point, is it like the Denver Stadium? Like, do kickers or punters, do they get uncomfortable in stadiums? Because in 2015 AFC Championship, he also missed a few very important kicks.
How's the poll look right now? How's the poll look?
It ain't looking good. 64% yes, 36% no. Kickers do stink forever.
Okay, so I got some stats from a stat guy.
Okay.
Okay, here's some interesting stats about opening week NFL kicking. In 2011, there was 9 missed field goals, 0 missed extra points. I believe that was probably when the extra point was still 20 yards. 2012, 5 missed field goals, 1 missed extra point. 2013, 5 missed field goals, 0 missed extra points. 14, 9, 15, 11. 2016, 12 missed field goals, 4 missed extra points. 2017, 7 missed field goals, 4 missed extra points. 2018, 11 missed field goals, 1 missed extra point. 2019, 9 missed field goals, 2 missed extra points. 2020, 19 missed field goals, 5 missed extra points.
Jesus.
That is a lot of misses. Hey, that's not good. And Stephen Gostkowski, their misses are coming from guys that are like good. Like, for instance, Boswell last night. I mean, he kicked one off out of bounds. He's very good. I would assume that some guys, though, for instance, there's some players that are linebackers that need to get the first hit in. Like, hey, I need to hit somebody. There's some people that need to get, like, their first shot up in basketball. I would assume that is something that happens. Golf, just want to get the first shot. I assume that there are some kickers that do have a little bit of jitters that they have to work out with it being the first thing that actually means something. Plus, we're in a world where there's no crowd. It's a very weird. I hope that by next week we have nowhere near those numbers, because that's bad. But there's a guy out there named Taylor Russolino who needs to get hired. I don't think that guy's missed 19 kicks in the last 5 years, but yeah, 19 missed kicks, 5 missed extra points, worst week 1 in at least potentially NFL history at this point.
No fans affecting kickers more than any other position?
It does feel like COVID is potentially affecting kickers more so than any other position in NFL.
What's that? I saw some of the stadiums had I don't know if this is for TV, but they had fans behind they had fake fans with cardboard cutouts behind the field goal post. And is that because of the kicker? Because the kicker's used to looking at fans behind the
No, listen. This is all just, this is just mental toughness. That's all. It's potentially getting, like I talked about, the jitters out. Like, hey, this means something. There's something on the line here. There's a lot of people watching. Like, I think the first game you are kind of feeling it out. But whenever veteran guys are missing, like last night, Gostkowski missing, that was when I just like threw in it. I was like, I have no idea what it is. Like, if Gostkowski's missing kicks like this, I have no idea. I don't even have an answer anymore. I have no idea. But you're going into a lot of stadiums, and at the end of games, potentially, whenever you're up a lot or down a lot, you're kicking towards an empty fucking background.
Yeah.
And whenever you're in practice, you're kicking towards an empty background. So a lot of people are trying to compare it to a shooter, like with the backdrop on a basketball court. Like, I don't think that's, as long as there's something to aim at, that's all guys are doing. So I have no idea what it is. I honestly, I would assume preseason, a lack of preseason is potentially affecting it. I would assume that maybe the lack of fans and the whole thing, like maybe being able to be like, hey, this is real. But I have no idea what it is. It is not a good time to be a kicker punter apologist on the internet, though, and that's what I am. It was a tough week one, let alone the punter from Citadel that happened this weekend. It's been
that was the worst of all time.
I will say this: you are about to see the biggest bounce back in the history of kicking. Week 2, college and NFL kickers and punters are about to have the best weekend you've ever seen in your entire life when it comes to kicking things. That first week, they had to get adjusted to it. They had no idea. They were like, hey, it's a whole new environment. We miss a little bit. Maybe a little bit's off. Maybe a hold's bad. Maybe a snap isn't great. Maybe there's a lot going on that we haven't really accounted for other than just burying the kickers and the punters. But week 2, it is about to be a flawless weekend. I have never seen somebody kick the ball as good as all these kickers and punters have kicked the ball this upcoming weekend. It's going to be insane to watch. I fucking hope.
With a guy like Gostkowski, like, do you think that they'll keep him? And does his name have enough cachet where it's like, hey, we'll give you another week. We think this might have just been a fluke.
Kicking is what have you done for me lately. That's the business. They'll cut you from your own team if you have a couple bad days. That's why everybody's like, oh, kicking's the easiest job in the world. It's like, okay, go out there and miss a couple kicks. Guess what you don't have? Oh, a job. They are just on the carousel. They get going. Graham Gano is over there with the Giants. I'm happy for him. He's good. He gets hot, really hot, then he'll get cold, and then he gets cut. That happens. But he'll get very, very hot. Hey, summer's here, and it's crazy hot outside.
Oh, so hot.
Summer's not here anymore. But that doesn't change anything. That drinking enough water is critical for a healthy lifestyle. It increases your brain power and boosts your productivity. It prevents headaches and increases your focus. It improves your skin and your mood. It helps your digestion and gives you energy. Wow. It prevents bad breath, and it can even help you lose weight.
Yes.
That is what water does to your body.
Wow.
People forget that water is literally the most important thing that you put in your body every single day.
Oh, yeah.
It's lifeblood.
Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and effectively hydrate your body. It hydrates you quickly and keeps you going for longer. Each rapid hydration mix has the essential electrolytes your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc, and it packs a punch to help your body hydrate fast and stay hydrated. If you're looking for that extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. Wow. Special deal right now, 25% off your order when you go to drinkhydrant.com/America. Sorry, Canada. drinkhydrant.com/America for 25% off. Get hydrated, be healthier, and live your life better with drinkhydrant.com/America. That's unbelievable.
Love that.
Good stuff. Tastes delicious, too.
Yeah. Hour 2, we may have a Kirk Herbstreit sighting. We will definitely take some phone calls. We'll talk about Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Whoa, how's that relationship going? A lot of eyes on the Bucs and Saints game. Is the Big Ten coming back or not? Are they voting today? A lot of rumors being started around for the last 6 weeks with what's going to go on with the Big Ten. I guess it all comes to a tipping point today is what we're being told. We'll dive into the ESPN Power Rankings for the NFL. We got a big second hour coming up on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, September 15th. That last song stunk.
It's a little slow.
Get out.
Take out rotation.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to get it rid of there.
Unlike.
It's called Tone's Request Line.
Of course. That's on me.
Come
Song
on, Tony.
stinks.
Come on, Tony.
Come on, Yellowstone tongue.
This song's called Basement Chaos. It's not bad. Here's one called Feds Tapped In.
Oh,
that's good.
Yeah.
Just need some broken wings.
Yo, my phone's hot. My phone's hot. You want these drugs or not? That means Feds tapped in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which got busted.
Yeah, Feds are on the phone.
Classic wiretap situation.
Don't call me.
Are you on a landline?
I've seen those conversations happen before. Very hilarious.
Really?
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. What are you texting me for, dude? Don't text me. They're reading my text messages.
Jeez.
Bro, you're selling dime bags for $7.
I doubt it.
You think the Feds? Let's go to Big Jake over here in Wisconsin.
Oh.
Big Jake, what's going on, pal?
Yeah, how's it going down there, bub?
Hey, not too shabby there, pal. How you doing there, huh?
Doing pretty good. Just had a question for you. With Marlon Mack getting injured and being out now, what is your favorite topping on a pizza? Because I got to give you mine.
Okay.
Best combination: sausage, green pepper, onion, and then here's key: you got to do it if you've never had it. You got to have ricotta. Big dollops of ricotta. It's a texture thing. It's warm. It's creamy. It's delicious.
How many Italians live in Wisconsin?
Not.
Yeah, that's why you have that fucking choice for your family. You fucking smart ass. That's a bad pizza.
No Italian, so I'm
Well,
gonna have
he
to
was
check it
basically
out.
describing a Supreme until he went with the ricotta.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I just, I don't mind Jake from Wisconsin. I like this call, a little misdirection there. Brought up something terrible with Marlon Mack because I thought he was going to talk about JT, by the way. He was a running back from there. I was like, oh, actually, we're going to get some intel here. Instead, we have a guy talking about pizza from a state that doesn't have people who created pizza.
Is ricotta calzones?
I think mozzarella.
Is it mozzarella?
I believe so.
Buffalo mozzarella.
Oh, aren't you? Both. New York has. Now, granted, everybody says New York has the best pizza. Let's relax. For
You
a
never
second.
been to Chicago.
It's the water.
Let's relax for a second.
It's the water.
They have the most.
Yeah.
They have the most. Which, by the way, and I think they are all of a level that are great. You're not going to get in some cities you go and you don't know what you're going to get. Like it's going to be bad pizza or it's going to be great pizza. There's a chance that it could be shitty.
said.
In New York, I think you know that what the standard is the standard. But when people talk about it's the best pizza on earth, it's like. Okay, let's have a conversation because there's a lot of Italians that would take a lot of offense to that who live in the city where I grew up. I would assume in Philadelphia there's a lot over there. Youngstown, Ohio probably has some great pizza. Wherever you see, Chicago, by the way, wherever you see a scattering of the people from the boot, there is normally going to be pretty good pizza, pasta, and things like that.
New York
also
was the first
probably
stop on the tour when they got in, baby.
Yeah, but then all the people were probably really good at what they did. Probably got ran out.
That's right.
Went to Chicago.
Probably got ran out of town.
We all saw gangs in New York.
They weren't paying the tax. They went somewhere else.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think Italian infiltrated places you can bank on the standard of pizza being good. Now, whether you like Chicago style pizza or you like New York style pizza, which by the way is my favorite style of pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So I am not I've eaten a lot of New York pizza. I enjoy it, and everywhere you go, you know what you're getting. It's going to be the pizza is going to have a level of it.
Well, Connor did say it right. For New York, it's the water that makes up the dough. Bad pizza dough, it's the foundation of shitty pizza.
Isn't it interesting though that New York actually has pretty good water?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's why they're
Very
big.
shocking.
My mind.
5-time filtration.
Yeah. It's because it's full of trash.
Good stats.
You just might get like a decomposed rat in the liquid.
All right, let's get one more call in. David from New York. What's going on, bub? How's the water?
The water is good, but I got to say, much like punting, consistency is key when it comes to pizza. And
Agree.
There it is.
Well said.
Agree. Pizza Hut fucking went out of business because their inconsistency was coming to a boiling point across the country.
That's why Sbarro's
I think
so
they
good.
shut down 70 stores just in Indiana. I lost my Pizza Hut up by my house.
And they should have.
No.
Yeah, and they should have because the inconsistency is next level.
What are you going to do?
David, do you want to talk about something?
Sure. So Big Ben has nearly double the age of every QB in his division. 2-minute drill at the end of the first half was magical. Do we think Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler will take over for Steve Levy in Monday Night Football?
See, those are so. This is the thing, the misdirection.
Misdirection.
Thing? All right, I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to learn that this is the thing.
There's the misdirection.
Was it Tuesday misdirection day?
They're looking left.
Maybe it's the callers though. Maybe that's like their thing.
What's Mitt telling him back there?
I don't know. It's like Ellen DeGeneres though. She goes like on that on her show, The Big Game of Games.
Yeah.
Blah 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 has done blah blah blah. With that being said, how many toes do cats have? Yeah.
Like being nice and actually being an asshat.
What are you saying, Ellen DeGeneres?
Whoa.
Hey,
She hates her staff. I heard
People
that.
are talking.
Listen.
Talking about people.
Oh my.
Hey, I'm just saying. I didn't say. I've never met her.
I did hear that she is a terrible person.
Absolute witch.
Whoa.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
That's a bit excessive.
Yeah, but you said that as if it was you saying that. We've never met the lady.
No, never. No. She could be a great
I did
person.
watch the show a lot, though, because I enjoyed the show. It was fun. Hey, fun show.
Good show.
Fun show.
Good show.
It's a fun show.
We play games.
That's called buying time.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Darn it. Good day, beautiful people. Hour 2 kicks off in a spectacular fashion here on this Tuesday, September 15th. One day after the week 1 of the NFL season has completed. Oh, yeah. 2 Monday Night Football games last night, ending around 3 a.m. I mean, it was a lot of talking points, a lot of presentation, a lot of missed kicks, and a lot of news coming out. The Pittsburgh Steelers are back. Big Ben Roethlisberger is back. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense is still here.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris Boswell's going to figure it out. They got Dustin Colquitt punting. The first one, he didn't hit it as well. Bad snap, looking snapped. Another one bombed it. But the Pittsburgh Steelers look like a great football team. And the New York Giants, guess what they look like? A team that was in rebuild.
Yep.
A team that has talent but doesn't know what to do with it yet. A team that has a guy calling plays for the first time since 2012 in Jason Garrett, trying to figure things out. That offensive line, though, is going to be a problem. I would assume Danny Dimes is going to take some big hits this year, a la what Andrew Luck was taking earlier in his career. It's good news that Danny Dimes put on like 30 pounds of muscle, because he is going to have to use it as protection this year, it feels like, unless they can tighten that up a little bit. Pittsburgh Steelers get a win, and they cover, by the way. Shout out to them. Started out at -6.5. Right before the game went to -6. Then if you live bet it, they were at -1.5 at one point. Go ahead and hammer all 3 of those and bank in. That's what we did. Second game, Tennessee Titans last year had a hell of a run on Derrick Henry's shoulder. They pay him. Ryan Tannehill gets a contract. They bring in Jadeveon Clowney, who did look winded at certain times. He will get his football shape, I assume, soon. That is one drawback to sitting out all of training camp. A lot of upside for sitting out training camp. Don't have to deal with all the bullshit. Don't have to sit through 13 hours of meetings. Don't have to potentially get hurt in a drill that means nothing. But the only drawback would potentially be you're not in football game shape, which will happen soon. And he was a game wrecker early last night. The Tennessee Titans go into Denver Broncos against a young Drew Lock, who's been handed the keys of the organization, says John Elway via Steve Levy last night, who's also calling his first Monday Night Football game. Congratulations to him. And they get a win, but they don't cover. Steven Gostkowski misses 4 kicks, 3 field goals, 1 extra point, an extra 10 points on the board. They could have covered. Let's assume they'll do so going forward. That game looked exactly how we thought it was going to look. Ground and pound, make you tired. You don't have Von Miller. You don't have Cortland Sutton. You're not going to be able to keep up. And our defense is going to play good enough football against a young team, a 25-year-old average age roster in the Denver Broncos. We'll keep them out of the end zone. You ground and pound them to death. Let's make some kicks and let's do our thing. Drew Lock is the future over there, but the future of the Denver Broncos is also staring right down the barrel of the Kansas City Chiefs gun, and they know that. I love both games last night. It got late. Didn't get a chance to watch the second half until this morning because I fell asleep and DVR'd it, but it's nice to have football back on Monday nights. Now, We look forward to Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
We look forward to week 2 kicking off this weekend. We got college football happening. And today, 1 hour from right now, we have Aaron Rodgers joining us for his weekly call. He was a maestro this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. He looks better than ever. Can't wait to chat with him. All the boys are here. Tone Diggs in his best Yellowstone costume. Boston Connor's here in just a costume. Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Mr. Mansuri, Evan Foxy, Frank Morado, Gumpy, Billy Tubes. Oh, man. I just had a little indigestion.
Because Oreos calling you.
Yeah, I had
double stuff.
I had an entire pack of double stuffed Oreos last night. And I'm trying to stay skinny. I've been doing a lot of cardio, but I don't believe an entire pack of double stuffed Oreos is something that the people who say if you do cardio, you can eat whatever you want.
I've been down that
Think
road.
that a human can lie. Yeah. Aviva Lazito is here. He's the voice of the internet. What has the internet been saying about hour 1? And what is the poll saying about kickers going forward? The poll today is, will kickers stink forever? Which I'm asking the same exact questions as everybody else. What's the poll saying? What's the internet saying?
Right now, 62% yes, 38% no.
Oh, we're making a comeback.
Here we go.
Oh,
Okay.
The first hour is
Probably your
changing their
speech.
opinion.
That's because I said
Yeah.
that this upcoming weekend is about to be the best weekend for kickers that you have ever seen in your entire life. Get ready for it. Get excited for it. And the internet?
The internet's very loud today. One thing that stuck out to me was that Big Ben had more rushing yards than good old
Saquon
Barkley. Yeah, Saquon had a lot of yards out of the backfield, obviously catching, and he is explosive. He's doing a lot of jumping. Okay, a lot of
loves
jumping.
Is he jumping too much?
Oh, well, that's what I was about to say. That's going to get him. I mean, at some point, somebody's watching the film and they're saying, not going to happen on me. But I'm happy as a spectator that Saquon Barkley is an incredible athlete. When he jumps over somebody, always a reaction from everybody. And it looks spectacular, but it's going to come.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, my only regret in my entire football career, Christmas Eve, we're playing against the Oakland Raiders. We have a fake punt in there. And the way the fake field goal in there, the way the fake field goal was supposed to go, Vinatieri was supposed to be a distraction. He was supposed to draw the middle linebacker with him to the field side. I was going to scoop the snap, run boundary side in between guard tackle probably. And it was supposed to just part like the C's, and I was just supposed to go ahead and walk right into the end zone. We're supposed to run this inside the 10. It was supposed to be another touchdown. Everybody's heard of the Troy Polamalu situation. There was another situation where I actually did run it. Since we weren't going to get to the 10 anytime soon, Chuck felt, he said we might as well use this thing now. We're on like the 30-something yard line. So for me to do an effective job for what this thing, I would have had to have like a 30-yard rush for a touchdown. I would have had to beat the second level too and the backside corner that could have potentially chased me down. But he was not going to be able to stop me if I saw daylight.
Yeah,
everybody knows that. Don't let Pat get to the second level, everybody says. So Vinatieri is supposed to distract said Mike linebacker and drag him to the side with his hands up. He did the whole thing. Mike linebacker said, why is Adam Vinatieri doing that? And then immediately saw me get up, and he just mirrored me right into the hole. Okay, so me and this Mike linebacker are running right at each other. I hit the circle button for a spin move.
Okay.
I should have hit triangle. I should have jumped over
hurdle.
him. I should have hurdled over top of him. That is something that I'll think about on my deathbed. I should have jumped over that professional football player that plays middle linebacker for the Oakland Raiders on Christmas Eve because I will never, ever get another opportunity to do such a thing. Spin move almost worked, by the way. He hit me so hard in my thigh, though, while I was spinning that my one leg bruised my other leg, knocked me down, and I actually hit the ground.
Wow.
While my elbow hits the ground, ball comes out, though. Ed Hockley doesn't call me down. He rules it as a fumble.
Jesus.
So I have a fumble on my record, which is absolute bullshit, Ed Hockley, and also a scrum that happened on top of my lower half. So bad Christmas Eve. But what I'm saying is, when they don't know you're going to jump over them, that's when you should do it. When people know you're going to jump over them, that becomes a problem. Last night, he did 2 little jumpy jumps. I'll be excited to see NFL defensive players get excited for a potential Saquon Barkley jump because he gets very high, very, very high. Last night, I thought he could have jumped a little bit lower on one guy, went too high. Somebody caught him. When he gets up there, I think there's a potential spectacular collision coming. Yeah. And I don't like it because I think Saquon's awesome to watch, but there's going to be a big one that's going to come. Because when you get in the sky, you never know what's going to happen to the guy.
On either end, too, because if one of Saquon's knees catches some guy in the chin, there's a chance that guy, you know.
Yeah, legit, with those quads, you have no idea. I mean, it's awesome to watch. I love whenever people get to jump in.
Kirk pointed out last night, too, like when he jumped the one time, you saw Devin Bush's eyes light up because he was just waiting for him to land right in his lap.
Yeah, that is, don't leave the ground is a very, very common thing that is said because when you're talking about these freak athletes who like hitting people, like there's a lot of people in the NFL that enjoy hitting people. Like if they weren't in the NFL, I think they'd probably be mixed martial artists, maybe like a Kimbo Slice in the streets, knocking people out, bounce. Like they enjoy hitting people, like hitting people. And whenever you have somebody floating through the air and you get to hit, I mean, that's just like, that is a dream come true for some guys. And Saquon has been very efficient with those jumps. But last night when I saw him do 2 of them, I'm like, oh, he's going to that a lot. And I'm not the only one that's noticing that, by the way. There's people watching that game at home. They're like, oh, okay. Well, all right. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. We'll see if he's getting comfortable. Saquon's so explosive, so fun to watch. But if that offensive line doesn't figure out how to block or move people, we ain't going to see him do jack shit. I don't think.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a concern that they're just going to like waste away his career with the Giants? Pretty
Not
much?
only his.
Dan Jones, too.
Yeah, I mean, I was with a guy who was a once-in-a-generation player, Andrew Luck, and I watched him his first couple years just get slaughtered. And maybe it was because he held on to the ball too long or whatever it was. He got smoked, and every single time he always like, hey, nice hit, and he'd get up or whatever. And I was always just like, yo, stop saying nice hit. Like, tell the offensive line, like, stop getting me killed. Like, hey, the better you do, like, the better it is for all of us. Like, you should tell somebody. But he was like too nice of a guy. He didn't do that. And I never said that to him, by the way. I just thought it every time I watch him. I'm like, yo, stop telling people that you're thankful for them breaking your ribs. Like, we need to change that mindset. Let's keep you alive. You are very good at football, and you are a guy that if you do well, guess what? This entire building, you see that doctor over there? He's going to have a better life. Like, everybody is going to have a better life. But that's how he played. Like, that's literally how Andrew Luck played. And I don't think he would ever be able to even change because he was so nice, loved his teammates, and he always thought, like, if you, I don't know, I didn't talk to him about this, but it felt like if he used to slide or take like a fall down in the pocket, you see Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning do just like an awkward fall down. I think he would think he's disrespecting the game. Like, I don't know if he had that in him to do that, but that's the type of thing I think Danny Dimes is going to have to be prepared for with this offensive line. There's going to be some big shots on him, and it's going to have to come to a point where I assume Joe Judge will hold them accountable, and I assume Jason Garrett will hold them accountable. But that offensive line looked very bad. And the Steelers' defensive line, to their credit, very good.
Great.
Very, very good. But that is something they're going to have to be worried about. But I love the football's back.
They had Nate Solder opt out too, which did not. Who did not help. But I believe their first round pick the last 2 years has been a offensive lineman.
Hey, Steelers' offensive line got banged up yesterday too. Lost your starting right tackle, torn ACL. Zach Banner
needed Castro back.
And what was going on? The offensive line. Villanueva.
Yeah.
He's former Army Ranger. Is that what he was an Army Ranger?
Yep.
Special Forces.
I believe so.
Pulled a guy out of a Humvee, I believe.
Jeez. Now he's on the offensive line? Imagine having that guy in there. That'd be pretty good to have.
Be nice.
We got an Army Ranger in here, yeah. Hey, we talked to the boys about that one time, like a missile went over your head and
rip that car door
and how
off.
they should stop complaining about fucking practice. Like, you do that? I assume that is something that's potentially done. Let's go to Evan in Kansas. What's going on, Evan?
Hey, how's it going, boys?
Hey, not too shabby down there.
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys. Also shout out the pod, Tone, Ty, Nick, Pat, Connor, Cuban Z, Big Motor, Jay, Foxy.
All right.
And Gump. And I'm just wondering, it's Overreaction Tuesday for all the Bronco fans. I think Fangio's a stooge. I don't know if it was just a big dick competition to see who wasn't going to call a timeout first or whatever the hell was going on, but...
Yeah, Fangio stunk last night.
He did.
But I like the fact that Vic Fangio, head coach for the Denver Broncos, makes an obvious time management mistake. Okay, obvious game situation mistake, which happens in college football a lot. We talked to Lane Kiffin last week or 2 weeks ago, and we talked about game management and situational football and everything like that. And he was like, yeah, in college it's just kind of something nobody even gets judged for. Because I remember Mad Hatter down there at LSU. Every single week somehow he would blow the time management, and everybody's like, oh, this is the greatest coach in football. It's like, all right. The guy that just ruined the clock management completely, he gets wins. I guess that's all that matters. I mean, they're always cardiac wins because of potential situational awareness, but that's just something that's normal in college football, is like coaches are just terrible at reading the situation on when in the NFL, it's not normally like that. And if a head coach is bad at that, they normally assign somebody to be good at that and tell them, like, hey, here's a book, when should we do this, when should we do this. Vic Fangio last night completely bobbled completely botched the timeout situation. 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning with 4 minutes left. Other team gets the ball, driving down to potentially take the lead. You're up 1. There has to be some thought of we have to protect ourselves here for if they score, maybe to get the ball back. Like that's a little forethought there. But what I love about Vic Fangio the most, and I assume he's a Paisan and this kind of just runs in the blood, he goes into the press conference right afterwards on Zoom. He's like, yeah, fuck, kicker missed. Just go ahead and let it ride. Everybody can eat shit, basically. I mean, it was the most confident I've ever seen somebody. And I think the entire world, like even his coaching staff, I would assume everybody on his coaching staff is like, what is this guy doing? For instance, we were in a playoff game against the New York Jets. And there was, I forget how much time, let's say 13 seconds left on the clock to second down. And we called a timeout. We used our last timeout for them to kick a field goal. And it would have been like a 50-yard field goal to end it. But the thought process in calling the timeout was like, well, if they make the kick, we want to get the ball back because they would have won up 2 or something like that. And with 13 seconds left on the clock when we called the timeout, Rex Ryan saw it, and he was like, they just called a timeout with 13 seconds? Was this a 50-yarder? Okay, we're going to take a shot to Braylon Edwards on the right. They pick up 30 yards or something like that. He has now like a 25-yard chip shot as clock is expiring. And that's like one of those situations where everybody on the team was like, how do you ruin? As soon as the timeout was called, I think Peyton stood up and like sprinted. Like I think every assistant coach was like, "What the hell's going on?" We had a clock management person that decided that was the right move.
Jeez.
Said person was eliminated in the office.
There's a speed bump now at the training facility.
Like that type of thing is a big deal. If you miss, and that's why the Patriots, by the way, they always handle their situations right. Feels like Bill Belichick's always thinking ahead, and every team tries to do that, but it's very difficult. Is Vic Fangio a defensive guy?
Yeah, he was the Bears DC before he went over.
Makes even more sense because defensive coordinators don't have to handle game situations. It's always offensive coaches. Okay, do we punt here? Do we go for it? Do we take a knee? Do we do this? The offense is much more so driving the action and the defense is reacting to. So I think a lot of defensive coaches that become head coaches have no idea what's going on in situational football or in time management because they've never had to deal with it because they're always reacting to the other team making the decision. It's normally the offensive mind making the decision. That's why I always thought defensive people make mistakes, and it makes a lot of sense that Vic Fangio's there. But I like that Vic Fangio just went in there and swung his bat and was like, nah, we did it right. We still have 2 timeouts, I guess, but right now, as the game's over, still have it, but we did it right. That's something that can't happen. And I would assume there's people in the building that are going to ask him about it.
Oh, for sure.
And he's going to say, well, we'll learn from this moving forward and all that. But that's something that should be watched. Like, hey, how's the situational football being managed over there? That's a real question. I assume John Elway's going to have his eye on it as well.
Yeah, and even the O coordinator. Like the drive that the Broncos had, or the possession the Broncos had before the Titans game-winning drive, they threw the ball twice and they only ran it once. They only ran 50 seconds off the clock. It's like there's 4 minutes left. You run it 3 times, get a first down, you're probably down to the 2-minute warning. At least get the Titans to waste a timeout or 2.
Hey, how about we can always go back to 28-3, dude.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that to Atlanta, obviously, or Kyle Shanahan or his family or anything like that. But that is something where you just think like, what do we do? What are we doing here? Like if I was on the Falcon, Vinatieri, by the way, should be hired as a clock management person. If he doesn't go back and kick, which I assume he could take any job he wants right now.
Yeah.
Even after the year he had last year and he got surgery and he got fixed, I assume a lot of people would be like, yeah, here, come on and do it. I don't know what he's doing. Haven't asked him, don't want to know because I have this microphone for 3 hours every single day and I don't want to be the one that breaks any news. But he's somebody who should be hired for a clock management guy because his life and my life normally directly affected by whatever happens in timeouts. He was awesome to listen to. He was so mad sometimes. Like we'd end a half before half with a punt when we very easily could have ran the clock out. So now we're giving the other team like 45 seconds with the ball when we could have just ran a ball and had it go out. Instead, we got this punt or this or that, and we miss out on it. I mean, there's so many little things throughout the game that nobody notices, especially in the first half going into half, or even obviously at the end of a game. There's so many things that happen that everybody just kind of bypasses, and commentators kind of give coaches a pass too, like, well, it must have been his strategy to do that. It's like, well, we should also talk about how terrible that strategy was because he just put his entire team in jeopardy of a game potentially being over, like last night at the end. But there's probably something in the first half you go back and watch where you're like, dumb.
What are your thoughts on, like Connor was talking about the drive before the Titans, like the 4-minute drill drive? Because the Steelers did it yesterday where they did pass to pick up first downs because I think they thought in their head, if we just run it 3 times, they're going to get the ball back. Yeah, we'll take some time off the clock, but they're going to get the ball back. Or maybe the Broncos thought our best chance of picking up a first down here and us winning the game, being able to run the clock out, is with passing the ball.
Yeah, I like people that go for it too. Because, like, for instance, 2 minutes left in the game. The other team has no timeouts. Game's over. Okay, so that's the goal to get to.
Yeah.
If you get to 2 minutes with a first down and the other team has no timeouts, it's over. So that's a goal for everybody. So if it's 3rd and 7 and there's 2:15 left and there's nobody else, all right, they have no timeouts, you have to go for that first down because if you get to the 2-minute warning with a first down with them and no timeouts, game's over. And that's something I don't think a lot of coaches know, by the way. And I know commentators don't know it because first down will happen and they'll be like, it looks like they're going to kneel it out. Let's do the math here. It's like, no, it's fucking it. If it's 2 minutes, first down, no timeouts on the other side, game over. That's just how it goes. So it all depends on the situation, who you have, and how you're beating. But you should never, obviously, end up in a situation that Fangio ended up in. And by the way, you're a kicker, what do you know? It's like, well, it directly affects us normally.
Time management.
We are normally the people that get directly affected by the amount of times I had to punt before half, jogging on the field, just staring at the head coach. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are we? Oh, just put it out of bounds. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Sure.
All right. I'll just, because you completely mismanaged this entire thing, I will just completely do that. You're right. That is my job. I'm supposed to clean up the mess. But boy, there were some decisions that were made in the last 3 downs that we could have changed.
Jerry Jeudy, too. I mean, he dropped the pass on first down, so it would have been a much different situation if he got it.
Was it a worse drop than Swift's?
No.
I don't think so.
Why did you have to bring that up? Come on, Pat.
I didn't get to see it.
What do you mean? That's the only other drop.
Yeah, you didn't. It's not even his fault. It's the jersey he's wearing.
What about the shirt you're wearing?
Yeah, would it be the color?
Well, we're only 5 losses away from going 10-6 and winning a playoff game, so it is still the year.
Hey, you're 100% right. And your coach, not scared to flex on some reporters immediately after.
That's right.
That's why Matt Patricia is our guy.
Exactly.
Another big one there. Didn't call a timeout against the Seahawks, and it worked.
Yeah, bingo. Because they knew exactly what was going to happen and had the right people on the field.
Yep.
It's all crazy.
Football is the best.
Yep.
But every decision, by the way, is always, did it work or not?
Correct.
Because if Gostkowski misses that kick, genius Fangio.
Yeah.
Fangio just let it happen.
Wow. A wizard.
Fangio knew it was going to happen. He's
a maestro coach.
So literally everything I just said could completely be countered by success happening in the other option.
That's sports, baby.
Hey, that's football, baby. 23 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Still happening. Pretty good, boys. Pretty good. 5 days in, still going.
Good boys.
This thing probably has like another 5-day shelf life, if I had to guess.
I love barking, so I don't think it's going to stop.
I think you're going to be the last dog standing.
I hope so.
Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. Adam Shine, by the way, is always so nice leading in. And I'm always such a poor host because I never say, like, hey, legend of sports radio is coming on next. Chris Mad Dog Russo on Mad Dog Radio here at Channel 82. But you know what? Fuck the listeners, because I guess they're still calling in the Mad Dog Show bashing this show.
What?
Still.
Yeah, fuck them.
We're 5 days into this thing.
What do they want?
Yo, is your old ass so old you don't know how to just go to another show? Just go.
Turn the dial.
Better get comfortable.
Yeah, we got it.
Not going anywhere.
Got another 95 weeks here. Feels like
Enjoy it.
I do know the deal. It is 95 more weeks. Aaron Rodgers joins us in less than an hour. Herb Street is not texting me back.
Kirk, come on.
He's busy. He said he was busy in the middle of something. He might be able to pop out. Maybe we'll be able to get him. Who knows? This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, September 15th. I was told by Del Curry, Scottie Pippen struggles on a golf course, right?
Right.
I was told at that thing that I'm going against Scottie Pippen. The next day, match play heads up one-on-one Scottie Pippen. So we decide, like, okay, we probably have a couple drinks, stay at the casino a little bit longer than we should.
Representing the NFL out of the Shoeless Golf Club of America, Pat McAfee. His opponent, representing the NBA, Scottie Pippen.
You know what I mean? This guy's got 6 rings. Yeah. He's a fucking Hall of Famer. But today he's going to play against me. And then I start seeing Scottie hit some shots that are just like starting to come together. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. I think I was lied to.
We were lied to yesterday. We were told Scottie Pippen was a terrible golfer. Bro, he's Scottie fucking Pippen.
Going in the back 9, I think I was down 1. Like, we were battling. But I started making putts. And Scottie Pippen went ahead and got real hot. I mean, real fucking hot. I was down 3 with 7 left. And I looked right in the camera, and I go,
We're down 3 with like 7 holes left. Scottie Pippen's about to get this work.
Scottie Pippen from 190 yards out just fucking dunks it. Fucking boom, bang, and then walks up to the green, gets the ball, cameras on him, and he goes, Pippen ain't easy. Kidding me?
All right, down 4 with 6 left after Scottie Pippen just chips in from fucking 400 yards out.
I was fucking demoralized.
Pippen ain't easy.
By the way, best he's ever performed at golf, because I'm around, better teammate than Jordan.
Yep.
People forget. Oh, yeah, I told Dell, I was like, Dell, what the fuck you lying to me? He was like, well, I saw it yesterday. He was not great. And Greg Anthony told me, and I was like, Dell, he buried me, Del Curry. He buried me. He was like, hey, Pippen ain't easy.
Yes, baby, it's time to celebrate.
Talking about a shotgun of beer after he had beat me. Obviously, I like teach him how to do it.
Yeah, put a hole in there. It might spread a little bit, so. Yeah, so you're gonna go here, and then you're gonna open and flip up. Does that make sense? Congrats on winning the NBA a couple times, blah, 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 blah. And being an incredible golfer. Thanks, Paul. Cheers, man. Hey.
Damn.
Okay,
That's the
Scotty.
best Bud Light I ever had.
Hey, there's no spot kidding up here.
You're right.
Show.
Really? That'd be massive. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Tuesday, September 15th. This beat is a banger. Yeah. We have to play hack music because YouTube will take us down. And every once in a while when you find a beat like this, you just kind of got to run it dry. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Tuesday, September 15th. We can't thank you enough. I guess, let's go. Herbie can go now, he says.
Oh, here we go. In the clutch.
Hold on, let me text him. This is the show. I'm literally texting him right now. OBJ allegedly on his way out of Cleveland. They are attempting to shop him, try to get him out of Cleveland. We kind of expected this after how the first week went. And also, if you think about a new general manager, new offensive coordinator, new head coach, that team is going to be built in a way that they've always envisioned a team being built. So having a massive contract from a previous regime that is now on your books and shaping the way you have to build your team, you would assume that that's potentially a move they would want to make. We talked about it before, that potentially being a move. I think this past offseason, that was a conversation about OBJ potentially being on the trading block. Then now you also think about Baker Mayfield. He's going to have a great year. Did not start well off on week one. They're probably going to potentially look for him to go in a different direction from him. There's a lot of turnover potentially coming in Cleveland. Myles Garrett is a guy that'll be around for a long time. Austin Hooper is a guy that'll be around for a long time. I assume Jarvis Landry is going to be a guy they're going to want to build around in a wide receiver room. But aside from that, nobody knows if their seat is safe in Cleveland because it's an entirely new regime out there.
Odell Beckham leaving, definitely going to help Baker Mayfield, have more yards next week, and that's going to really help their offense.
Well, I assume OBJ had that one drop. Okay?
For sure.
And last year he had a drop punt at one point.
Yeah.
But aside from that, OBJ, I think, makes plays for you, right?
Pretty good at wide receiver, I think.
But he did not have a great first week. Okay, he had one catch on 7 targets or something like that, because a big conversation was, hey, he needs to be a main focal point of the offense. So this year they tried to make him the main focal point of the offense at some points, because Stefanski's like, hey, we have a guy who's a top 3 wide receiver whenever he's healthy, whenever he's going. Let's do that. And he had a drop. He had a couple misses, had a couple missed targets that happened to him, had one catch. And I would assume OBJ is potentially at the point where he's, I don't want to say over the Cleveland experiment anyways, but if he was to potentially end up at, I don't know, the Green Bay Packers.
Bring him home.
Would he not be pumped about that? Do the Green Bay Packers have enough salary cap to pay Odell Beckham Jr.?
Well, I guess it depends, because I was going to ask, what do you think, what is his value now? Is he still, I guess it's still whatever a team is willing to give for him, but I don't think someone's going to give another first-round pick, second-round pick, trying to trade for him.
Who said he's on the market right now?
According to my sources, it was Mike Francesa.
Mike Francesa?
Yeah.
The Pope. Mike Francesa is breaking news about Odell Beckham Jr.?
Yep.
He loves talking Odell.
Okay. Mike Francesa says that he is potentially on the market. He was allegedly on the market this past offseason as well. Mm-hmm. We will continue to follow that story closely. Speaking of stories that will follow closely, last night, a man made his NFL broadcasting debut. He's the voice of college football. He's very handsome. Ladies and gentlemen, I assume fresh off of a plane out of New York, Kirk Herbstreit.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, congratulations on a great debut last night. You, Fowler, and Maria absolutely killed it in the Meadowlands.
Thank you, man. You had a great, unbelievable experience about Monday Night Football, and it was I know there weren't any fans. I know it's COVID and all that, but it's the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger and the New York Giants, and man, it was a lot of fun.
How much did you have to prepare for that? Because you did lean on a lot of your college knowledge of players. There was a couple times where you'd mention a player, the school they came from, and everything like that, which doesn't normally happen in NFL broadcasts, but it seemed like you knew what the hell you were talking about, which is not, everybody just assumes it's because you know football, you know that, but you also know every single thing about college football, which has 77 teams playing. So that was interesting to me and impressive to me that you knew your stuff about the guys that are on the field.
I'll tell you, man, I don't know if I've prepped any harder for a game than I did for that game, because I wanted to do as good of a job as I could. I had the background of the college information that's just in my database. I don't even know where that is, but it's just there, but the NFL, and I don't know if I texted you this or not, but I was somewhat concerned with how would the Giants and the Steelers be with me coming in to do a game, because in college I get ridiculous access with coaches, when you're in a production meeting, or they give you a cell phone and they talk real with you. They don't talk like they would talk when they're standing at a podium. They give you real information. It really helps you do a broadcast. I didn't know if I would get that in the NFL, and I was blown away by what the Giants, the players, and the coaches, and the Steelers, just so forthcoming. So when you get all of that prep put into kind of your bank, and then you go do the game, it makes you feel so relaxed to just let the game be the game, and then you just drop in the information that you prepped with based on film study and the interviews that you did individually with these guys, and you just stay out of the way and let the players do what they do and talk a little bit about them and enjoy it. And that's kind of what we did.
Well, it was awesome. And I think I'm somebody who lives on the internet, so I can tell you this. Twitter is a rather toxic place right now, because it is election time, and it is it's become a very negative place in a lot of different places, right? Last night, Kirk Herbstreit, Fowler were a resounding yes to this group. Absolutely crushed NFL coverage, and I don't know how often you are on Twitter right now, because it is a toxic place. They were in love with you, and I said this this morning in our thing. It was like everybody got a chance to taste the most polished commentating crew with Fowler and Herbie, and then Steve Levy, Riddick, and Greasy had to follow that on their first night, and it was like, hey, this is the group that was chosen. And I thought they did pretty good, by the way. I didn't think it was that bad. I think it would only get better. But you and Fowler absolutely slaughtered last night. And Fowler had never called an NFL game either, right?
No, man, and he was in the middle of U.S. Open. He was doing 2 weeks of calling matches with the U.S. Open and just trying to do the best that he could with his prep for the game. Chris Fowler's just, if you didn't know about Chris, the guy's just as professional. You use a perfect word to describe him. He's as good as there is to me, whether it's studio work or becoming one of the top play-by-play guys. So I wasn't surprised with the job that he did, but to hear that, I've stayed away from social media because he said it's a toxic world. I don't handle that world real well. A lot of times I'll text you and ask for advice. Hey man, saying this, what do I do? But I honestly, if they're happy with it, we're really appreciative of that. But I don't know where this will go from here. But you and I have talked about Monday Night Football a lot. I'm just happy to do the one that we got a chance to do, and who knows what will happen down the road.
You've always said, though, that if it was to take over college football, you wouldn't do it. College football is your baby. You love college football. You always have. You always will. College Game Day is back on location. You guys putting a show together, the best show on television. How's that been? Obviously, COVID 2020, it's a different environment. You don't have the crowd, but I thought Saturday's show was awesome.
Dude, we love having you on the show, number one. We really appreciate you coming and being a part of it. I know last year you got a taste of it, and this year with everything going on, we're going to make the best of what we have to work with. But thank you for being a part of the show. We love doing it. As you know, we love being out on the road. It's very different without having fans, but it is what it is. You know, we can sit around and kick the ground and be pissed off that the world is unfair, but it's the deck of cards that we have right now, and we're going to go to Louisville, and we're going to put on a great show, and we're going to talk about the games that are going to be played, and we're going to talk about the issues and the things that are going on. So we're just happy that I'm not sitting, in Nashville doing a show, and Corso, I know he's in Orlando, but I just love the fact that we have a show that's on the road, and our bosses are allowing us to do that. And hopefully the Big Ten, I don't know, I've been kind of unplugged. Maybe you have some information, but I hope the Big Ten presidents, after their meetings over the weekend, are moving in a positive direction. I keep looking at that October 17th. The latest would be the 24th, or somehow the Big Ten, if they were able to come back by then, they could be included in this year's college football playoff. So if there is a chance of that happening, I hope the presidents decide to vote, and hopefully they'll vote accordingly based on the data and the information, the science that they heard from guys like Dr. Jim Borchers from Ohio State, who's a great dude. And hopefully we move forward with this and they can play ball and be a part of this. Have you heard anything? What's the latest?
There's breaking news, actually. The Nebraska president was caught on a hot mic or something like that?
Yeah, Nebraska President Ted Carter says this morning, not knowing he's on a hot mic, before a news conference, we're getting ready to announce the Huskers and Big Ten football tonight.
So tonight, an announcement's coming. So why don't you get on the horn, start calling people, and see what the hell's happening. That's good news.
Oh, my God, dude, that is so, oh man, I hope that it happens. If that happens, I will be so fired up. And you're right, I am a college football junkie. I loved what I did last night, but I don't know if I could ever shut down college football and do NFL. College football feeds my soul, and if that's true, man, you just made my week. If that vote goes down and they end up voting it, that would be huge. Great news to hear if that happens.
Well, I don't know if Brett McMurphy is a knowledgeable guy or not. You'd probably know more, but he's the one who put out the tweet. 1,000 retweets, it's going.
Yeah, I mean, he's somewhat of a controversial character from time to time, but typically for him to talk about something, usually he has some information. So hopefully that happens, man. That'd be obviously great news and give us a lot to talk about Saturday on game day.
Amen.
Kirk, being in the stadium last night and calling the game, was there a position group or player that stood out last night that impressed you?
Man, that's a great question. The obvious would be the Steelers wide receivers. With Ben coming back, we know who Ben is, right? Pat knows. He and I were texting last night during the game. He's experienced Ben, and we know what Ben can do.
Oh, yeah. He gets rolling.
The fact that he's back and healthy, okay, we put that to the side. To me, those wide receivers, this Claypool kid out of Notre Dame, they told me privately, they said they've never been more excited about a guy at that position than this kid Claypool because of what he can do. Ebron, who came over, I know from Indy, you're not probably happy about that, but we know what he can do getting vertical, and he can be a guy that can be dangerous, puts a lot of heat on those safeties that defend that Pittsburgh offense. So last year without Ben, they were dinking and dunking, and they couldn't do anything. Now, man, opening things up for Juju, Deontay Johnson, I just think that this offense as much as the defense is going to keep them in every game they play, because they're best defense maybe in the league, this offense has a chance to be dynamic by the time they get really into their flow, if they stay healthy. They lost Zach Banner last night. Connor looks like he got dinged as well. But I would say the Steelers receivers, to me, really have a chance to be special.
How about that Giants offensive line? That's problematic. Problematic over there. That is problematic.
The words are a work in progress.
It's a reload. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But you guys, Daniel Jones is going to be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Jones is doing some things that you really got to like. I love quarterbacks that clearly he's in the film room from the time this game ended and to whoever they play on Sunday. He is going to either be sitting next to Jason Garrett or he's going to be studying film. And so that's going to allow him to be able to know where to go with the ball on Sunday. And, if he can just get some help up front, and that's a group that's got to build some continuity. But they got skill, and they got a quarterback that's willing to commit himself to knowing how to prepare and knowing what to do with the football. And that's what he's been taught by Jason Garrett. Just distribute the football. Don't try to be a hero. Distribute the ball and find the right guy. And I thought he did that a lot last night, considering the defense that he was facing and that his offensive line didn't necessarily help him when they were throwing the ball.
He needs to wear like a couple extra layers, I think. I saw Andrew Luck have the same type of situation. It was not great. Connor, what do you got?
Kirk, you and Fowler talked about Joe Judge being an old school guy and kind of serious football on the broadcast last night. What's he like, and do you see the New York Giants kind of entering into a new era?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I'm not just saying this because I just called the game, and, you call a game. Pat can relate to this. You call a game, you sit down with a coach from, Cincinnati, and next thing you know, Luke Fickell, man, I'm all in. I'm not doing that.
Jeff Collins,
my man, right? I'm telling you guys, we'll see what this era produces, but you've got to be impressed with this guy. It's just old school approach for a young guy. Everybody made a big deal and kind of made fun about him telling guys to run laps. It's not that so much. It's more of just when you talk to Saquon or you talk to Jabril Peppers and they're buying into this, because he's like, guys, you don't understand. Saquon said, we've gone over every potential scenario in the history of the NFL. And we all kind of laughed. He goes, I'm serious, man. He goes, this coaching staff teaches us more about the game than anybody I've ever been around. So I think that's a really big step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
Pat will tell you, players just want a coach that can help them produce on Sunday. Just give me some help. Give me some clarity to the scheme, to the matchup, to my assignment. And it's like, if you go back to that Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl, he decided to throw the ball instead of running, and everybody made a big deal about that. But Butler made a play on that ball. If you go back and listen, if you remember, he said, Coach said 2 days before the game, when they get in this formation, don't be surprised. They're going to try to rub you, and you got to get underneath that and cut that quick slant. That's exactly what happened in the Super Bowl. So when you give guys answers in practice to what potentially happens in games, then I think that's all they really want. And so the laps and all that, and the discipline, that's great. But I think it's how meticulous and detailed this coach will be is, I think, the reason the Giants should be excited.
Yeah, you were selling hard that Saquon and Danny said, like, hey, this is something that we needed in here. And that was interesting to hear. I didn't know if that was just them saying that to you because that's the right answer, or if they truly believed it, you thought.
But, dude, they've sucked for 3 years. I mean, they're the worst franchise. We're not talking about the Bengals, a team I like. It's one thing if they suck or the Browns suck. This is the New York Giants that have sucked, the worst record in the NFL for 3 years. So they want to win, and they're feeling the heat from their media and their fans. So if a guy comes in and says, hey, guys, I've been with the Patriots. Year before that, I was with Nick Saban. Those guys, they seem to know what they're doing, right? If you know how to win, follow me over here, over this hill over here. Follow me. And they're all kind of looking around each other. Yeah, 4-12 kind of sucks, guys. Go over here. I'm going over this hill right here with this coach. And honestly, now if he has an offensive line to work with, and if they get better, then I think that people are going to be surprised with the direction of this franchise with this coach.
And that's what everybody talked about that played for the Patriots. They're like situational football. Every single day you learn situational football. I assume that somebody wishes Vic Fangio was a part of that at one point in his life because of what happened at the end of last night. What up, Ty?
Kirk, it seems like we had quite a few upsets in college football this last week. Do you think that'll be the norm moving forward with there not really being home field advantage, or do you think water will find its level and the better teams will win as we progress?
That's a great question, and I guess it's still somewhat of a mystery until we start to see more games played, because you're right. I mean, some of this stuff that you're watching, you can't even predict. Even the Bear can't predict, that some of these upsets are going to happen. And so I can't wait to see, as you see these teams for a second time and a third time, you start to get film, you start to have a little bit of an idea of the identity of teams. Then I think you start to be able to really evaluate it a little bit better. But coming out of COVID, where guys were quarantined and weren't allowed to come around the facility, and then finally they started to work out more consistently in mid to late July, that's a tough ask to really know who you are as a football team. And a lot of these college coaches, they're following the line. Nope, we're not allowed to hit. We're going to use bags. It's like, what? Like, how are we going to play a game when we're not even hitting? And so that part of it makes it a little bit unpredictable. If you have a coaching staff that's, I care about my players and we're not gonna hit. I'm like, damn, if you cared about your players, either hit in practice and prepare accordingly, or shut the season down. Doing more damage to your players by following the CDC guidelines, whatever the hell they're following, by not hitting, you're not doing your players a favor at all. You need to hit, and you need to play football and practice in order to be able to play on Saturday. Or, like I said, if you can't provide that for your players, then you should just say we're gonna opt out as a team, or practice the right way, because I don't buy into that at all. And if you're not comfortable with that, it's okay. Just opt out. Just say we're going to shut it down. So if that continues, the way that some of these teams are preparing, it's virtually impossible to know how they're going to perform on Saturday.
Hey, I think it's kind of irresponsible, too, to be putting their players in that situation where you haven't really felt anything, and then all of a sudden you're going against a team that's been hitting for 3 weeks at this point, and it's like your first day of training camp, and they are already midseason form. That is a very different animal. That's why everybody talks about the dog days of training camp. First couple of days, I'm going to be dead, my body's going to be sore, and these guys are just getting dropped in on Saturdays. Like, here you go. By the way, we didn't hit all week again, so how you felt last week, we're going to feel again because we didn't even work through it. Here you go. That is I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, this game, as you know, this game is about hitting people and being hit. And your body and your mind have to get accustomed to that. You look at teams that are you get to the middle of September into October. Now you're a well-oiled machine as a player and as a team. And if you're not doing that, and then all of a sudden we're going to throw you out on Saturday, that's a tough ask, in my opinion. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that and what they're doing as far as their preparation to see how that may impact some of these teams.
Hey, last question before we let you go. Can't thank you enough here after your big NFL Monday Night Football debut. Yeah! Hey, can you, because I got a chance to learn this from doing College Game Day and being on set and getting to talk to people. Can you share the importance of Lee Corso to College Game Day and how important that man is to not only the show, but to literally every human that's there?
Can't really. I mean, he's 80. First, you got to start. He's 85 years old. I've been with him for 25 years. I have such a great relationship, unique relationship with him. It hasn't always been that way. I mean, it didn't start that way. I didn't really know him. And then, the way you get to know people is you get in the back of a car and you're driving to a photo shoot or a commercial and you start talking to him about your kids or you have questions, and I used to turn to him like I turned to Yoda, for wisdom. And so honestly, I have such admiration for him and love for him. And, you get to this point in his career and we're all just, when he's sitting next to me, I feel like I can help him. I feel like I can, put my hands on him and help him. And dude, it's hard when you watch him and you can't do that. It's tough. And same time, he's got such charisma and personality. I think just like you're a guy with this internet world that we live in, you're a pioneer, and you're going to be one of the great entertainers. Lee Corso, in television terms, is one of the great entertainers of all time, whether it's sports or just entertainment in general. So, he is not the person that he was 20 years ago. He was a wise guy. He was a one-liner. He was think on his feet, make fun of somebody. He that was what made his name for him. He was kind of like a Bob Uecker kind of guy for college football. And now he's 85 years old, and he's on a second and a half or 2 second delay, which makes it really hard for a guy who's 85 years old. But damn it, he's college football. He is the sport. He's an icon, and if he feels healthy enough to continue to be a part of the show, then we will do everything in our power to make him feel comfortable and make him feel part of it and let him do his thing. And so we love him and hope he's able to stay healthy and continue to be part of College Game Day as long as he can.
Hell yeah. I completely agree, by the way. After meeting him, it was a whole different level of appreciation getting to talk to him. He's a legend, absolute legend. And so are you, Mr. Herbstreit. 25 years, one of the voices, now the voice of college football from ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Herbstreit. Thank you, Herbie! Thank you, Herbie! Good guy.
Yeah.
Weapon.
Great. The best.
Herbie's a weapon. And he knows everything about every team in college. It makes, I guess, being around it for 25 years, you kind of calculate and bring in information. But there'll be a couple times last year, I'd get dropped into College Game Day, and I wouldn't know what I was going on the stage to talk about until, I don't know, 16 seconds before I was going on stage to talk about it. In my wealth of knowledge in college football, because I was in the NFL for 8 years, I watch College Game Day. That's my wealth of knowledge for college football, is just watching College Game Day, whatever they happen to talk. And then I have a good memory, but if I don't remember every single line that they say in College Game Day, like, okay, my wealth of knowledge might not be that great. We'd be walking onto a stage and they'd be like, all right, Pat, we're going to talk about this team, and this team. I'm like, I don't know a fucking thing. So I look at Herbie. I'm like, Herbie, what is? And he'll be like, and then he'll say the coach's name. I'm like, oh yeah. And he'll be like, this player. I'm like, oh yeah. I saw the highlights of him. He's like, that's him. And also in defensive side ball, they get this guy if you want to really. I was like, thank you, Herbie. Jeez Louise. Because we'd be flying to College Game Day. We wouldn't know we were going to be on game day until Friday. Like they were like, hey, you want to come back to game day tomorrow? It's like, absolutely. Let me figure out a plane real quick and let me get down there. We'd fly down there. We land there. They're like, we're thinking you're going to be in this segment, and this segment. I'm like, cool. What they're about? They're like, we don't know yet. And they're kind of floating segments. It's like, all right, so just stay on guard. I'm like, you got it. Then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you're interviewing, who was the guy down in Memphis on the stage of basketball?
Penny Hardaway.
Hey, you're interviewing Penny Hardaway in 3 minutes. I'm like, Penny Hardaway, the basketball player? Like, yeah, he's the head coach of Memphis Tigers. I'm like, oh shit, how long has he been here?
Like, over there too.
This is his first year. I'm like, this is his first year coaching Memphis? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And they're like, also, we need to get you 2 blocks down that way to get in the middle of people. So you got to sprint this way and around here. And I'm like, all right. I mean, thank you for the faith, by the way. Like, I appreciate that. But then I'm talking. I'm like, Penny, what's a chant that they do here? They spell out Tigers. I'm like, how? He's like, T-I. And then as he's doing it, the crowd that's around the stand starts doing it. I'm like, okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So then they're like 5, 4, and I'm just learning the chant. I just learned that Penny Hardaway, by the way, is the coach of Memphis. This is his first year, about 2 minutes before that. And they're like, here we go. Let's go to McAfee out there on the octagon. It's like, all the drunks just start going crazy. It was a whirlwind College Game Day last year. And they, from top to bottom, very, very professional show. I'm talking about very, very professional show. Those chaotic moments that I'm describing is just because it is a live show in front of thousands of people, and there's like a lot of drop down. But man, it has been an absolute honor to be a part of that show last year. And this year, I mean, this past weekend I was on for a few minutes. It was nice. We had to change the set. We had to get rid of the poop and AJ Hawk behind me.
Why?
It was.
They didn't want to see poop and AJ Hawk?
It was brought up a couple of times in the rehearsal. They didn't tell me like, no, you can't do it. But they were basically like, is there any way maybe? And I was like,
Different producer every time. Like, oh, you might have to get rid of that.
Can you get rid of the pooping guy?
Big lighters all over the place.
You could tell Kirk's passion too when he was talking about the tackling and stuff like that. And then when we read him what Nebraska's president or whatever said, like his face lit up with pure joy.
He was so pumped. You know what I'm pumped to do every single day?
What's that?
That's put my bird dogs on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to hop on that Stairmaster.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Bird dogs are the most comfortable shorts in the history of shorts. They took out your uncomfortable underwear and made it obsolete by adding an inner lining that's more comfortable than any pair of underwear you've ever put on to a pair of shorts that are more comfortable than you ever wore. The shorts you can wear in a meeting, you can wear them to swim, you can wear them to sleep, you can wear them to work out. They are all-terrain shorts. You can do whatever and now they make pants. Sex is cool, but have you ever tried built-in underwear? Everyone knows Bird Dog shorts, but now they make pants. They stole Lululemon's designer, and now they're just doing it better.
Yes! Wow.
That is on the
Wow. Gotcha, Lululemon.
Was I supposed to say that?
Probably, yeah.
Shout out. Now they're doing it better. They look exactly like khakis or chinos, but feel like soft, silky soft pajamas. There are work pants, our golf pants, and happy hour pants. You can do whatever you want to do. Go to birddogs.com and enter promo code McAfee, and they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks.
What?
Yes, you heard that right, nunchucks. You'll get an actual murder weapon along with the most comfortable pair of shorts or pants you've ever worn in your life. That's birddogs.com, promo code McAfee. Boom, free pair of nunchucks. Shout out to Bird Dogs. I did not know they just plucked somebody and say, hey, here we go, let's make it better over here.
Genius.
Good for them.
Smart move.
Birddogs.com, promo code McAfee. Hour 2 is wrapping up here in about 20 seconds. Thanks to Kirk Herbstreit for joining us last second there to talk about his debut in college football. We have, in 10 minutes, Aaron Rodgers joining us.
Yes! Let's go.
This will begin the weekly segment with Aaron Rodgers and AJ Hawk. This is Tuesday, September 15th. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You're the greatest.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. And Brookings...
College game day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not what we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's, oh! Daniel Russo!
Wax on! Wax off! Knee to the face!
Yes! Serious.
Go!
Yes.
Go! Yes!
These teams stick with that 15. They celebrate by doing shotguns, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State was the winner here. That's what that's again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Adam Vinatieri School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the goats today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that place in.
Don't do that. No. Leave.
Pat says it be no.
I told you I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on college game day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The college game day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here. Yeah. But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. I told you that. So this is a big time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here. Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room at the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted.
text from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends and talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have.
The Pat McAfee Show.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this beautiful Tuesday, September 15th. Big show. Aaron Rodgers is about to join us in 3 minutes. And another massive Paramount guest will be joining us as well here momentarily. But I have to tell you that in 2016, Canadips began crafting the pouch in mouth for California's recreational marijuana market. They were no strangers to the Canadips and their blue collar roots, and they made familiar a CBD dip. Okay? CBD Canadips is something that is just next level. Not only is it a beautiful replacement to the toxic actual tobacco chewing, but it's CBD making your body better, and it is something that will make you feel as if you are still dipping. Ty Schmidt used to be a dipper, then he was saved by Canadips and their CBD dips, and now it is your go-to. Is that right, Ty?
Yep, I absolutely love them. Great taste, good consistency.
And it gives you a good...
Yeah.
If I know the chewing community, a big part of the chewing community is... Now you have all the habits and none of the harm. Actually, you have added feel good with CBD. Go to CanadipsCBD.com and use promo code LIPBOOMERS for 15% off your first order of tobacco-free pouches. That is CanadipsCBD.com. And again, use promo code LIPBOOMERS for 15% off your order. Get a little CBD in there as opposed to whatever else you were potentially putting into your lips beforehand, with all the upside of the feeling. Joining us now is a Super Bowl champion, and yesterday he was titled by a caller I don't recall, the Crimson Chin. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk.
Yeah.
AJ, what's going on, bub?
Could you guys hear me today, hopefully?
Yeah, you sound amazing, and you and I have a moment here to chat about what we're about to do here. We're about to embark on an NFL season-long Tuesday visit from a man who would be widely considered the most talented quarterback to ever play football, who looks better than he's ever played, Aaron Rodgers, who happens to be one of your good friends and my best friend. I'm pretty pumped up about this.
You're right. Are you gonna? I think you should go like way over the top with his intro. I know that you're kind of famous for that. You make guests feel great about themselves. I think you really need to juice them up, I think.
You know, the problem is I didn't even think about that because I kind of took this for granted that we're best friends at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a paramount situation here. This guy is a living legend.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays.
And he's Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays.
All season. Is he on right now? Okay, so here we go. Let's get... Hey,
Hey, here we go. Hey, come on now. Come on now.
You gonna do
Bring
that?
him in now.
You gonna do it now?
Tuesday, September 15th marks the first day of a season-long voyage that we are about to take together. Right now, 2:05 Eastern Daylight Time. I am proud and honored to introduce to you a man who is a perennial Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, a man who's aging like fine wine, somehow playing better football than he played 25 years ago. Green Bay Packers legend, Super Bowl champion, from Butte, California, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers! How about that?
Please tell me that that's going to be a one-time thing.
Yeah, I'll never do it again. But we'll be able to cut that into like promos and all that stuff. So I had to do it one time. It's definitely uncomfortable for you, but I think listening, people are like, "Hey, damn good intro of Aaron Rodgers right there."
Yeah, I'm sure, Pat.
Next week, wait till you hear what next week's is, and especially if you play like you did on Sunday. Hey, you had to be feeling good. You told us last week that the elbow wasn't sore in camp for like the first time in 10 years. Then we watched you on Sunday. It looked like you were throwing the ball faster than you have in recent past. You look thinner than you've ever looked. You look more fit. What is it? Are you a rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers? What is this at the old age?
Well, you inspired me, Pat. When I saw you and those squads, down in the Bahamas, I was like, man, I gotta take care of myself a little better. So I went out to Columbus, Ohio, and I got on AJ's workout regimen. 5 a.m. in the morning, doing the Versa Climber, for 22 minutes, and then, do some biceps and some some neck stuff.
Shrugs.
Got to get the shrugs in there. Work on the baby pec, with some one arm, dumbbell bench, and this is what you get right here, buddy.
You do look better than you've ever looked, AJ. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just want to know if Aaron's offended that you said he looks thinner than ever. Like that's not really a compliment.
A little bit of a shot. A little bit of a shot there. That's on me.
I don't think that was a shot.
Thank you. I think you look fitter than you've ever looked. AJ, don't try to drive a wedge between us here on this first Tuesday.
Take it easy, dude.
I can never drive a wedge between best friends. You know that. You guys are, blood for life.
Bingo. And I'm very happy to say that on Sunday I was also drinking my purple drink, Aaron. Were you drinking the same purple drink as me on Sunday? Big conversation on the internet. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I don't know what you were drinking. I've heard of some different types of purple drink, but mine was Pedialyte, actually.
Ooh,
great. Pretty standard. I know people have made gifs and whatever memes about what I've drank. No, I used to drink Grape Crush for sure after every game, not just when we beat the Vikings. Every game, and then I kind of gave that up. I grew up a little bit, had to move on, and. But especially playing indoors, I worry about cramping. So I'm always drinking my Pedialyte. I can't pick the colors, my buddy Adam, picks the colors out. Age, Adam.
Yes.
The orange one's terrible anyways. The purple is the only one that is even drinkable.
Purple's great. It's fantastic.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, I only use it for hangover, so maybe I was in this terrible situation. But the purple one's the only one that is even close to being drinkable in my eyes.
Age?
Oh, not even an answer.
I don't care about any of them. I want to ask a football question quick, Aaron. So I need to know one of your signals. And I know you got to change signals. This is legit. So in fourth quarter, I think it was 3-by-1. You had Devontae by himself, singled out. It was single high safety, I know. You gave him the old thumb suck. I think you gave it to him twice. You looked out there, okay, real casual, a little thumb suck. What does that mean? And I know you looked off the safety. We knew there was no way you were going left to the three-man side. You had Devontae manned up, and you dropped it right in the bucket on the sideline. Now, what exactly does the thumb suck mean?
Bingo. We would like to know.
It's actually a dummy signal.
Oh, wow. That's a lie.
Dummy for what then? So what is it? Plays on 3-by-1. If you're manned up, single high, we're coming to you no matter what?
No, I knew it was man coverage. I actually, with this thing based on the no fans and I don't know what was going on with the sound. It seemed much quieter than some of the decibels we've been working with during training camp, but it was quiet out there. And then, we're going to have to really take a look at the TV copy and see what was said out there, because we're going to have to change some more. I think the entire league is going to have to. It's been something I know defenses have studied over the past few years, especially now that the guards have been mic'd up for a number of years. But now you can hear everything. So I don't know how many colorful metaphors I dropped on Sunday. But, I'm sure there is a lot of good stuff. I don't know what the delay is now. Pat, you might know what the delay is on the broadcast now, because they're going to have to watch it, because I'm sure they were picking up some more good words.
So normally there's like a 7-second delay, I guess, in things. But Monday Night Football last night, I heard a lot of "you motherfucker." I heard a lot of that going on. But to the quietness of the stadium there, your hard count is very, very impressive. And it seems like a lot of guys have been taking advantage of that. Was that something you knew, obviously? Because you told us last week, you're like, you don't think you're going to have to go to a silent count, so you knew you were going to be able to get the cadence off. But that hard count is something that's been a weapon for offenses. And I would assume you assume that's going to stay the same throughout the rest of the season?
Well, I think it's definitely helping the road teams for sure, not having to deal with the crowd noise and do silent count. Now, I think I said it, this week, last week in the production meeting. It looked like Houston was using silent count in Kansas City. Kansas City had 18,000 fans or whatever. So I know there's going to be some places that are allowing fans, so we might have to use silent count at some point, but using the live cadence is definitely a weapon. It's been a weapon for so many years at home for us. We've drawn a lot of people off sides, and we've made, definitely thrown a lot of touchdowns and big plays doing that. They blew since we had a game of 15 against Seattle, and there was a little bit of complaining after the game about the fact that the snap wasn't synced up with the line movement when there was an offsides. So they've really made an emphasis on blowing a lot of those plays dead. Now, if it looks like there's going to be an unabated to the quarterback, or if it looks like the offensive line moved before the center snapped it, so you don't get as many maybe opportunities as you used to. But we had a good one in the third quarter where they jumped, they didn't blow it, we snapped it and hit Marquez for about 35 yards to get us down inside the 5 and set up another score. So it's a weapon. We're going to keep using it.
Aaron, I drew a couple people off sides for field goals. You got to go from diaphragm, bub.
I saw that tweet you had. What did you do though? Did you snap the ball and run around and throw it up? Or?
No. They would blow it dead every time for field goals. But I agree. If me and Jack Doyle, who was the wing, would have been on the same page a little bit more. Maybe he runs a route there. I scramble around. I pull an Aaron Rodgers impression, throw a dart at the age of 75 somehow, harder than I've ever thrown the ball right to Jack Doyle. Maybe I'm a superstar. Maybe I'm still playing. Maybe that's what's going on.
Wouldn't you just for the aesthetics wanted to throw to maybe an offensive lineman or defensive line? Give him a chance. There's one chance. You drive guy off sides.
Oh, yeah.
And you got, the biggest guy out there.
Anthony Costanzo running out there.
Yeah,
big Paisan.
Costanzo scored a touchdown, though. He had a nice celebration. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, he did I forget what it was. He had been planning that for years, by the way. The second year in the offense here with LaFleur, I assume a lot of people are making a story out of this, but you did look much more comfortable and it looked like the entire offense. Is this just natural progression, you think?
Yeah, I think it's natural progression. I think it's the fact that we had no crowd noise in Minnesota, I think, didn't hurt either, because that's a tough place to play. We opened up the stadium a few years ago, the first game there, and it was electric. Last year we were playing for the division in week 16. A little different when you can hear everything that's being said on the field compared to when you can't hear anything from a guy, a few feet from you. So that definitely gave us, I think, a little bit of an advantage over some years past. But I thought Matt had a really nice plan. I thought he got into a flow with the calls. And when we got into a rhythm, we just kind of kept rolling. We did some good things on third down. We were 6 for 11 on third down, which is important. We were terrible in the red zone in the first, quarter and a half. And then, we figured a couple things out and scored on, 5 possessions in a row or something like that.
No, that's pretty good. What about, I saw you celebrating a lot. You'd go over and hug the receivers after big drives. You and LaFleur obviously seem to have a good connection, which seems you guys get physical with each other. You seem to like to punch. You're like an aggressive meathead. You get a big play and you guys start yelling at each other and you give him a few jabs. Has it always been like that from day one with him?
You're such an idiot.
Dumbest.
Remember Kevin Green. You play with Kevin Green. KG loved to get physical when you celebrate. I see the same thing with you two.
Look, I've watched your celebrations over the years. I haven't, been caught flipping anybody off from the field. But not saying I haven't done that before. I just avoided the cameras.
Bingo.
Smart.
Which is asinine to think that you could flick someone off and avoid the cameras. We all know you can afford the $15,000-$20,000 fine you'd get.
But the kids, AJ. Worry about the kids, AJ. Jeez, why don't you be an adult?
Who's working the cameras at these networks? They don't have a camera at all times on Aaron Rodgers. That's my question.
That is a great question. That is a great question.
There's TV timeouts. There's other times where you can slip things in. I've been flipped off many times on the field by coaches of different, other teams. Usually in jest, but hey, it happens. It's part of the game.
Why do you always get along with the person who's attempting to kill you? This is interesting to me because when you run, okay, hey, sneaky athletic, isn't he?
Oh, damn right.
Hey, sneaky athletic. The guy is
sneaky athletic.
Hey, he's crafty. That guy. He's crafty out there. Hey, shockingly quick and agile.
Yeah.
All things said about white people that can run well.
Coach on the field.
Yeah, exactly. But you have a good rapport with basically everybody. There was a time down by the end zone where I think you were trying to figure out whether or not to throw or run. It was early. You and Harrison Smith had a moment there. And you always seem to have the very positive interaction with people that are trying to kill you. And I'm intrigued by that. Has it always been that way now that you're an OG? Everybody looks up to you and is nice to you? Or is there moments where you ever, there was like AJ Hawk type Kevin Green moments with people? Or has it always just been upbeat, positive, hey, I just outran you and I'm a quarterback and I shouldn't be doing what I just did kind of mindset?
I'd say if you take out all the, Detroit Lion interactions from, say, 2009 to 2015, other than AJ Hawk and Brady Papinga trying to hurt me at practice, I feel pretty safe on the field. Those Lions games over the years with Sue and Fairley and some of the guys they had, those got pretty contentious. You knew you were going to get rocked outside the pocket.
Were you the one that got stepped on? Was that you?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't.
My calf stepped on. There was a quick no from the back. I'm not sure who that was, but Evan Dietrich Smith got his body kind of stepped on. I got my calf stepped on. If you remember when Sue said he couldn't feel his legs in that cold game at the end of, I think it was 2014. You guys remember that, don't you?
Jeez. Great excuse. I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Couldn't feel my legs. I didn't know what I was stepping on. But then I felt that it was a calf, so I stepped harder.
It's classic.
Hey, what do you guys? What do you do now, though? How weird was it? I guess winning a big game like that. That's the best part about playing football is celebrating after a big win. What do you do? How awkward was it going back, flying home? All right, well, it's not like we can go meet up anywhere.
I mean, the whole thing was strange. There was things that happened that I'd never heard before. The first is our sideline clapping. I mean, I'd never heard that before. Really. I mean, because you're playing at home, if you have a first down or a good play, you hear the fans. You play on the road, there's a smattering. Obviously, we travel really well over the years. There's a smattering of, Packer fans. I heard our sideline clapping and, encouraging. You heard.
Unbelievable. That's the punter, by the way, probably. That's a big part of our jobs.
Not our punter. He's too zoned in. JK. He's over there. If he's not reading the Bible, he's really thinking about his drops and he's getting totally dialed in.
I was a hype machine on that sideline, Aaron. I was a hype machine over there. It was.
I bet you were.
Yeah, you had to be.
Yeah, but you were thinking about some other things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Different times.
I mean, the Bible sometimes, but I get it. But you said there was a lot of strange things. I cut you off.
Yeah. Just everything was so muted. The sound was muted. Obviously, we heard our sidelines. You could hear, calls from the sideline. You could hear coaches yelling. It's just the whole thing was just really different. But at the same time, I think there was. For a lot of us, after a score, usually you feel the emotion from the crowd, and even if you're playing on the road and you score, there's kind of that deflating of the home crowd. That's inspiring for us, the road team, to even celebrate harder. And I don't know, it just didn't feel like the same type of energy. Obviously, I mean, it's not surprising, but it was still football. Guys are still playing hard. It just didn't have the same kind of electricity that a game in Minnesota has the last few years.
Is that something that worries you about the season? Because everybody knows, like, week 8 to about week 13, you're in the middle of the tunnel, okay? You're too far in, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Now, if there's still, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the world by week 8? I mean, literally, who knows what's going to happen in the world 8 weeks from now? Nobody knows. But if there's no crowd there, is that something that you think could potentially affect players or teams more so than people would probably expect it to?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking about looking around and watching games on Saturday. You know, games that had fans at it. I know Miami's talked about having fans, and Kansas City had fans. I don't know. I guess I kind of am hopeful that we will have fans at some point. You know, I think you saw in those games, you know, people, you know, rocking masks, and you know, it seemed to be plenty of distance between each of them. But you know, who knows at this point? We haven't scheduled to have fans until definitely not the first 2 games. But the way our schedule sets up with you know, we're away home, and then a bye week, and then away coming out of the bye. You know, we don't have a home game. Our third home game is the beginning of November. So there's still more time for our organization to figure out what they want to do. It'd be nice to get some fans in there. But I have to say, you know, I think that the thing that was on my mind, I don't know about you guys, but I was interested to see how all the tests would come back especially from the Houston-Kansas City game. You know, coming back after, you know, we're playing, and you know, they were allowing people to, you know, at least say hi to each other after the game, and don't, God forbid, you take your jersey off and give it to somebody else. But you know, at least you got to like shake somebody's hand, and you know. But no positive tests across the league. So I think that's definitely.
Hey, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us, Aaron. Bye week after week 4. That is called losing the bye week lottery in the world of the NFL. You are throwing the ball better than you've ever thrown the ball. Do you agree with that statement that I made right there? You're throwing the ball better than you've ever.
Look, Pat, that's a completely subjective statement.
I've seen you hit nets in practice. The drills.
Yeah,
I have not seen you miss a single hole on the drill on any of the videos that have hit the internet. Then you
haven't showed the ones I missed.
No,
they don't exist.
Hey,
That's
I don't
why.
care. I'm not at practice. You shouldn't care either. But then on the rollout the other day, you rolled out to the right. You're on your right foot, and you just threw like this dart, and it seemed like it could have went for potentially 50 yards on a line, maybe into the stands if it had to. I assume you just like, yeah, I can do that. That's fucking unbelievable. I want to let you know. And that's just an average day for you. I can't wait to see what you do next week. Better do something awesome then, if that's just a normal throw for Aaron Rodgers at this point.
No, I think it's just one game, though. You know, it was the performance that I was hoping for, that we were hoping for as a team, but it's just one game. So I think let's just ease up a little bit. I know there's some, you know, overreaction every Monday and Tuesday, but especially after week 1, there's been no football. Everybody's been fucking going crazy, like, you know, just wanting some content to talk about. Now we've, you know, 16 games. I think that, you know, what I will say is I think just like in 2011, Pat, you know, Age, you know, everybody's like, oh, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be good football or not good football? I think the quality of football was really high. I think other than you know, a couple games, I think you saw some really good quarterback play. I think you saw some guys, you know, making play. I think you saw for the most part the tackling was solid. So I thought the level of play was really, really high, and I think maybe this reminds the owners and the pundits that maybe the preseason isn't as important as the games wise as a lot of people try and make it out to be, and maybe an off season where you get more time to yourself is more beneficial for guys.
But how you guys already just agreed to a new CBA? So
why did you voice this a little louder?
What do you mean, you guys?
You.
I voiced it. I was an Indy voice, and there were a few of us with you know, fully functioning brains that were agreeing, but there were some people who really wanted to push it through.
Hey, how did you guys play so well? Especially, I mean, your offense, defense, everyone played well. You looked good, but without having all that, without having the offseason, without really having a normal camp, no preseason games, we saw some teams and some offenses that they weren't clicking. Like, they looked like they need some time. Like, what are you guys able to do to come out the gates like that?
Well, it's just execution, really. I mean, I don't think it was any special formula. I think it does help being the second year in the system. You know, I think there's a lot more comfort for certain guys, myself and Devontae and Marquez and Allen. You know, all those guys made plays. I think, you know, early in the game it was really Devontae, and then, you know, Marquez had a big catch down the sidelines. And then Allen in the second half, you know, kind of got going and made some plays for us. But, you know, for us it was the balance. We had the ball for 41 minutes. You know, that was the huge thing. You know, it doesn't matter who you're playing. Like, that's going to tire anybody out, whether it's week 1 or week 17. That's going to be a long day for the defense. So we were able to keep the ball, keep the chains moving on third down, had sustained drives, and 41 minutes. You know, that's a dominant time possession performance, and it doesn't really happen. I think it's the most since they started tracking the stat. So that was the key to our success.
No big deal, by the way. There's been a couple of those during your answers. No big deal, by the way. Just a couple.
I don't want the overreaction, Pat. I love the energy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Aaron? What you need to do, so Pat is real big
into this. You know, it's just. I think you need to just calm it down a little bit.
No, you're getting the MVP, dude. Hey, you already won the. Hey, congratulations! You won the MVP. Woo! What are you gonna say?
Hold on. We need Aaron to have someone film him working out in the Green Bay weight room. I know at least when I was there, they're not real keen on bringing a camera phone into the weight room. If you put a workout video out there, Pat absolutely 100% will believe you are the NFL MVP 100%, because Cam Newton, giant fan of his, because Cam put out some highly produced, like very well produced, awesome workout videos, and Pat's all in. If you put a workout video out, then Pat might explode. Honestly, I think you should.
By the way, I'm right.
Do you have that? Can you just go back to a camera's age and see me just, you know, just pumping iron and doing the Versa down your basement?
Hey, get out the kettlebells. You know? Yeah, tell the boys I'm going to send over some footage. I need them to cut it up in a quick highlight film there.
Zito will do that right now for sure. Aaron.
Thanks, huh, Pat? That's all it takes.
Yeah, just you put out one good video and it looks like you're motivated more than I've ever seen you motivated. For instance, whenever I see you looking more fit than you've ever looked in your entire life, and you're dropping dimes and allegedly suck it signs, like for me, that is something I read and I'm like, Aaron's about to have the best year he's ever had in his life if he's feeling this way mentally. So if you're putting out workout videos, that means you're confident in what you're doing. So I buy in. And by the way, Cam Newton was a guy I bought in immediately upon him being fired from the Carolina Panthers. And then for 86 days, I was like, why is nobody signing this dude? And then, of course, the Patriots do. And it makes too much sense. But yeah, I buy in hard.
And when do you jump off the wagon?
As soon as I see something I don't like.
Pretty quick, huh? Pretty quick.
Hey, I'm not scared. Just like I got on the wagon, just as quickly as I got on, I'm not scared to go ahead and get the hell off of that thing if I see some things I do not like. Aaron, we can't thank you enough for your time. Before we go, you're wearing a Cal Fire hat. Obviously, Northern California right now, where you're from, is in the middle of another battle with fires. I think Oregon as well. T's and P's to everybody back home, man.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting that, Pat. I appreciate it. I lived in Oregon for 3 years and have a lot of affection and friends still up there, affection for that area. And then obviously Northern California, what they've gone through, you know, with fires in Santa Rosa, fires in Redding, fires, you know, in Paradise and Butte County. That's just in Northern California. If you look at, I saw a map of the state, and it had little, you know, fire emojis all over the state as to where there were fires. And just, you know, I was sent this hat a couple years ago by firefighter Rap, and just want to give him some love and all the firefighters out there, you know, trying to make a difference. I know there's been some rough winds and obviously high temperatures that they've had to deal with, but man, it's a tough time for California, and just want people to be thinking about them as they go about their day.
Yeah, you're a good man. It's your home. Obviously, you're going to look out for it. We watch along just in absolute awe of what everybody's going through, and the firefighters who are badasses, not only flying in, running in, everything like that. We appreciate them, and we appreciate you. Have a great weekend, will you, Aaron? I mean, to be honest, that throw on 1 foot that went 35, 40 yards, you said very average. You said this. It's just Pedialyte. I'm excited to see what you do next week. Has to be better than that one. All right. Have a good day.
See you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. Just another day, dude. Just a 40-yard rope off of one leg rolling to my right in a bucket. Just, standard. Don't worry about it. Don't even ask a question. What are you talking about? That was an average throw. What a dude.
Do you think it's better to start out on fire like that, or to maybe ease into it? Like you said, you just got to do better than that next week, and then better than that the following week.
Well,
the expectations, man, are set pretty high.
So they have the Lions coming off of a heartbreaker, another one, and I believe the Lions have a couple young corners, right?
And we're all banged up too. Our best corner's out.
Yeah. I can't wait for him to. Now, granted, I hope fair play, whoever wins, right? I hope he puts up a performance that's great. They win, but not as good as week one. I'm going to bury him for it. I'm going to say, what do we do? Did we peak too early? Are we a bad football player all of a sudden? Ty, I didn't get you to ask him a question.
It's all right. I mean, it's all right. You got the two answers that I was looking for. What he's drinking, it's Pedialyte. I was hoping it was maybe something else because I want to drink it during the games as well. I'm not going to drink Pedialyte.
Pedialyte is not, he said it's fantastic or whatever. That is a lie.
Yeah, it's terrible. But, I mean, I said it a couple days ago. Rodgers might throw 65 touchdowns this year, so I don't think you have to worry about. I mean, he might not throw as many yards this upcoming week, but I wouldn't be surprised if he throws 6, 7, 8, 9 touchdowns against that banged-up Lions defense.
AJ, we'll take some phone calls on the other side. Can't thank Aaron enough for joining us. This is going to be a good segment each week. I feel like I learned a lot right there. Yeah. Offense, the way this stadium's being built. Took a couple shots, a couple no big deals.
Hear the bench clapping.
Yeah, by the way, have a little fucking respect, dude. We're supporting.
I don't know if I believe him that the thumb suck was a dummy signal.
I don't.
Yeah, by the way, I like that your first question to him was, hey, tell us what your signals are. Because
I wanted to feel him out and see what he was going to give us.
Hey, maybe we'll catch him one week where, he's had too much Pedialyte or whatever. He's like, oh, that's actually a fade ball. Yeah, as soon as I do that, make a baby, it's like easy, like a baby. Yeah, something like that. I was a part of a signal-making meeting, by the way, for the Indianapolis Colts whenever I was young, in my dorm room, because I was roommates with Curtis Painter. And I walked 2 rooms, and there was a living room, and then you walk out. That was it was a nice dorm. And I walk out, and you got the sheriff there, okay? I had just woken up probably from a nap, like a little bit. Curtis Painter sitting there. I think Sorgi was there, and they were just saying words, and then what's your first reaction to them? And I walked out, and I don't think I'd met Peyton really yet. I hadn't drank with him yet or anything like that. And I was like, oh my God, my life is insane. What is this? And then they were like, Pat, what'd you do for this word or whatever? And it was dig or something like that. And I was like, And he was like, yeah, everybody knows that, Pat. And I was like, all right, okay. I'll keep if I have a good one, I'll come in. But I did have 2 signals make the air. What do we got? Like to be known. They're both dummy signals. And that's what I was told, by the way. Dummy, what would you do? I was like, shout out to me, thinking for you guys. I had an arrow.
Oh, nice.
Full arrow. I do the arrow thing. Because Peyton was always, there was always, and they had full meetings because they had to change those because people would watch the TV thing. So I was a part of it. But yeah, you asked them to give away something they probably worked hours on. AJ's trying to ruin the Packers.
It's this guy's deal.
32 minutes after the hour, got to get to a break. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Last night I was roaming around Canal and Bourbon, and there was a lot of purple. And when you get that Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it starts getting loud and it gets rompous, obviously, not only for momentum and swings like that it can help, but for the defensive line to get a jump. I think that is a big deal. A lot of freak athletes on the field, and kickers are a spectacle no matter what happens. Whenever you're in those high-pressure moments, you normally fall back on your fundamentals. You normally fall back on your technique. You try to take your brain out of it. Cade York hits a beautiful ball.
One person up in the parking garage.
And think about him warming up right now. There's just 3 dudes in suits breaking down every single move he makes during his warm-up. What a wild scene here for Trevor Lawrence.
Quarterback, number 9, Joe Burrow.
You're supposed to be some draft expert, and you say Joe Burrow was a 5th-round draft pick before this year. Now he's number 1 overall. What do you know? What do you know, Todd? Tim, you are so handsome. That's ridiculous. What do you think has been happening in this first quarter? Why has Joe Burrow been stumped by this Clemson defense?
I think Brent Venables is the best DC in the country, and it's honestly not a shock to me. He did this to Tua last year.
Odell Beckham just stopped by.
Odell's very excited.
Odell's happy with the 52-yard attempt coming from the kid from Clemson. I've seen Odell make this with a spinning ball. And BT Potter puts it through from 52 in Odell's. In your face. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't in your face. You weren't looking at it.
That's a career high for BT Potter.
Bro, imagine Joe Burrow just having to stand in there and know that Isaiah Simmons is scot-free right in your suckle. That's a bad call. No chance Alberto Riverod would turn that over. He was in the Buccos organization.
I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC-regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
The Pat McAfee Show. McAfee and Hawk, joined by AJ Hawk here on this Tuesday, September 15th. Mad Dog Radio at Channel 82 and on the YouTube. AJ, last night's game, what was your big takeaway? It looked like Big Ben Roethlisberger was all the way back. It took him a little bit, but then once he got cranking, it was really good to go. Juju Smith-Schuster has a bounce-back game after a lot of people questioning whether or not he can be a guy. It looked like the Steelers, and their defense was next level. I feel like the Steelers made themselves relevant in conversation of who's going to be good in the AFC again last night with one swift ass-kicking of a rebuilding Giants team.
Yeah, they did. And the weird thing to me, though, with Saquon, why people were talking about Saquon, you got an echo? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound really good, actually.
Okay, I got an echo coming through my ears. But
that has to be so miserable.
Yeah, that's on you. No, I don't know about that. Either way, it's fine. I'll find a way to fight through it, Pat. But with Saquon, people are saying, oh, Saquon's going, like, what's going on? What's wrong with him? He's not as good as we think. Did you see? He was getting tackled as he was getting the ball multiple times, like with multiple defenders in the backfield for TFLs. Like if he was getting 2 yards, he was working so hard to get those 2 yards. So if you're a Giants person and you're mad about Saquon or you think he's not as good as he is, trust me, he can still play. He's legit. They need to find a way to block for him, that's for sure. But yeah, I think for you guys and the Steelers fans with the boys in the room, you know what? I feel pretty good about the Steelers right now. I love their defense, and I think Ben is only going to get better as the season goes.
Do you think that, let's go back to your Saquon point, because when he was getting the ball out of the backfield for screens, it was electrifying. Yeah. That jumping over of people, is that something that, like, defenders that are playing him this upcoming week are like, hey, in the first game, that was his go-to, was just jumping over people. Let's be prepared for that. And also, when he's in the air, let's go ahead and punish him.
Yeah, but it kind of sucks, though. That's the thing. If you, let's say you can feel it coming, you're getting an angle, you're closing on Saquon. Yeah, that's definitely in your mind. Like, okay, is this dude going to jump or not? Because if I go low and he jumps, oh, there we go. I'm like posterized. He's going to jump over me and continue to run. But if he doesn't jump, and I think he's going to jump, and I go high, I'm going to get I may get flipped backwards with how powerful Saquon is in his legs. So, yeah, it definitely gives defenders, especially on the second level, something to think about. And if you go high, like, you better hope that the dude's going low, because if you jump and the defender goes high, if the defender is physical and powerful at all, man, it's going to be a monster collision right under your chin.
I mean, sucks for Saquon, but the Giants stink, so they're kind of out of the conversation. No offense to Giants fan, which I'm sure there are plenty, especially because New York market with Mad Dog Russo. There's probably a lot. I apologize that that's happening, that we have to say that. But this is obviously a rebuilding year. And Joe Judge, if you listen to what Herb Street said, has the boys in the locker room buying into the old school mentality. We got to do this. We got to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to be good. They were 4-12 last year. He said a stat that was very interesting. The losingest franchise in the NFL over the last 3 years. Okay, New York Giants. Would not have expected that, by the way, because there's some teams that are very bad at football the last couple of years. And the fact that they were the worst is wild. So they obviously have to build up that offensive line. You hope they don't waste Saquon. You hope they don't waste Danny Dimes. But those are two potential casualties of the Giants suckfest that it's been. We'll see if they get it turned around. But the Steelers, on the other hand, you said you think Ben Roethlisberger's only going to get better and better. What is that? Because he's been out of the game for a year, a little bit better feel? You think maybe they'll get a little bit harder? Because he looked bad early, and I was like, oh, no, Ben Roethlisberger's dead. Then they said, oh, Mason Rudolph, the guy who got his helmet taken off of him and hit in the head with it by Myles Garrett last year, he was warming up. But you saw him get better and better. Is that just like kind of getting over the absence of football for a year, you think?
I think so. I think getting over, not only coming off the elbow injury, he's not 100% certain how the arm is going to feel. Yeah, he's had training camp, but this is the first game. This is when he's going to get hit for the first time. How does my elbow hold up? How do I feel? And he talked about it before the game, how like anxious and nervous he was to get back out there. Like he was just so damn excited. I get it. Like if you're a quarterback, you have to find a way to harness all that, like that juice you have before a game. Every other position, you know what, Pat, actually kickers and punters, you guys have to do the same thing, really. You can't be too hyped for a game. If a quarterback is too juiced up for a game, he's going to come out overthrowing balls, tip balls for interceptions. Like, it's going to be bad. And I think quarterbacks, punters, and kickers are probably the only three guys on the team that have to do that.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from the motivational speeches because they were cringeworthy, but also because I didn't need to get motivated. I didn't need to get motivated by anybody. I actually need to be the complete opposite. I'm trying to relax a little bit. When I'm on the sideline clapping, going crazy, we did it. And it's like, okay, now I got to get back to being very casual here. And when I jog on the field, after I'm pissed off at the coach for whatever time mismanagement they just did, okay, I got to calm back down here. It is very much of a balancing of your emotions because you have to do such a small craft while everybody else is like, hey, we're going to get killed out here, so we got to be jacked up to run through a wall at all times, much like the middle linebacker A.J. Hawk joining us, Super Bowl champion, obviously the Crimson Chin. Big news coming out of, which, by the way, is that the best nickname you've ever heard in your entire life?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm okay with it.
The Crimson Chin? I forget who said it yesterday. Somebody said it yesterday. I don't know who it is. They deserve a lot of credit. It was a caller.
Crimson Chin's it's a superhero.
He's from Pittsburgh.
So, it's a compliment.
What is?
The Crimson Chin. It's a superhero.
See, I didn't know. I'm not a nerd.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's a superhero in a old Nickelodeon show.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Here comes the Crimson Chin.
We should have that for AJ immediately. We'll start that tomorrow. Crimson Chin, AJ Hawk. The thought that week one was good football. Weird football, good football. What do you think we're in store for week two? Because they always say your first year to your second year is where you make all your growth or whatever. And then they say a team changes the most from week one to week two. Do you expect that to be the cliche thing to happen? Or are you thinking we're going to see much of the same? The teams that stunk, they are who we thought they were. And the teams that are good, they are who we thought they are. You think you're going to see a lot of change up this week?
Well, first off, who says the teams make the biggest jump from week one to week two?
I feel like Chuck told us a lot whenever we sucked week one. He was like, they always say the team makes the biggest jump. Like, it was like as a mindset thing, like, yeah, we were terrible, but we can make a big jump. Because I think the Colts lost the last 10 years, week one or something like that. And I was on a lot of those teams. So we always lost. So I think that was always the go-to speech, the canned speech for the head coach at the time. Google how to talk to a team after losing week one. It's like you make your biggest jump from week one to week two, just like you make your biggest jump. Do you expect the teams that stunk week one to continue to stink? Or do you think there are some teams that are like absolute dog shit? Like, for instance, your Super Bowl favorites. Do you think they're going to be able to turn it around next week?
Yeah, I think because it wasn't all bad for Dallas. Your stars played well.
It was boring.
AJ.
Yes, it was. But they can adjust the game plan. Coaches are getting used to each other, too. Are they going to improve? Yeah, they should. I don't know if they will or not. We'll see. But I think you're going to see a lot of what we have already seen. Like the teams that I'll be interested in seeing what they look like. Like the Indianapolis Colts, what do they look like week 2? They are a team I think can go either way right now. I would look for them to get better. Like the Jacksonville Jags, are they who we thought we were before the game, or are we elevating them now because of how well Gardner Minshew played and the fact that they won the game? Like, where do you put the Jags?
Let me tell you something, AJ. If the Jaguars go to complete shit like we thought they would, that means a lot about the Indianapolis Colts. And we need Jaguars to potentially rally off another 15 straight here to make the Colts, I think, defense feel good about anything that they got going on. But hey, big changes can happen, big jumps can happen. There's big games this weekend. We'll break those down as we go throughout the weekend. Lines get a little bit clearer and who's playing, who's not playing. AJ,
who's Tampa play next week?
Tampa Bay has a home game against Carolina Panthers, who last week was only conversated about because they didn't give the ball to Christian McCaffrey on 4.5 yard line. New coaching staff, new quarterback, new everything down there in a game. Is it in Carolina?
No, you're right.
Okay, good. Tampa Bay. Shout out to Tampa Bay, Q, Gronkaneers. They have Carolina. I assume that Tampa Bay is going to get back on schedule here and play like we thought they would. Yeah. But Bruce Arians is currently backpedaling about his original statements about how in the first one, Mike Evans was right, Tom was wrong. The second one, Tom was wrong. Now he's backpedaling and saying, well, actually wasn't cover 2. Mike Evans misread it because if you looked at Tom Brady on the sideline after that interception, he was looking at the Microsoft tablet that nobody uses except for players on the sideline of NFL games. Blaine Gabbert was there too, and they were looking at things, and I knew that the Bruce Arians offense revolved highly around the quarterback and the wide receiver seeing the same picture, right? It's everything. That's why quarterbacks in the first year in that system normally throw a lot of picks. Jameis, Carson Palmer, the list goes on, because the quarterback and the wide receiver have to see the exact same thing. So whenever I saw Tom Brady, he pointed at the touchscreen to Blaine Gabbert to show him something, and then they both nodded their head, and then he looked like very comfortable almost. I was like, well, that doesn't look like that was Tom Brady's fault. I assume that was Mike Evans' fault. Then you hear Bruce Arians come out after the game. He's like, well, the first one, Tom got it fucking wrong. He needs to figure it out, basically, is what he said. Mike Evans saw it right. Now he's saying, no, it's going a different direction, and obviously because it's Tom Brady and it's the Buccaneers, this is a massive conversation because it's like, hey, are Bruce and Tom on the same exact standing as Bill Belichick and Tom was, which is very interesting. Now Bruce is coming back. I assume Tom didn't take any disrespect to that. I assume after they watched the film, Tom might have asked some questions to Bruce, like, well, is this cover 2, Bruce? Is this what you said in the press conference? Is that? And Bruce is like, well, goddamn, you were right. All right, I will make a statement. I want to let you know I will walk that back. But that's going to happen with this team. They're going to have to learn about each other and continue to evolve. I think it's going to take a month or so to really get on the same page, but they have so much talent. They can't look the same way they looked against the Saints every single week.
Well, it's like anything. I know we know Mike Evans and Tom Brady are both superstars in the league, but they haven't played together yet. And like you mentioned, the Bruce Arians offense, you 100% have to be on the same page because we saw it's a prime example, that play, the interception Tom Brady threw when Mike Evans, Tom thinks he's going to continue going, he throws it up high, safety comes over top, picks it off. Mike Evans tries to sit down and throttle a little bit in the coverage. He thinks Tom sees the coverage. He thinks he's got to pull the trigger and make a throw, and it sails high. It's a pick. Like, that's the things that they haven't been working on. They haven't had that. They haven't ran that play 85 times over the last 8 years in games like Tom has with guys in the past, a guy like Edelman or somebody else, where they see things like through the same eyes almost. So, yeah, it'll take a little bit of time. But also, don't you think this could be a chance for Bruce Arians to sit back and be like, you know what? Maybe before I publicly criticize guys on my team, I'll wait at least a day until I watch the film and I match it up with all the calls and I figure out what we're doing?
Well, I would assume Bruce asked Mike what happened, and then maybe Byron Leftwich told him something. So he's trusting like whoever's giving him information, and he's like, "Yeah, well, fuck it. I mean, they said it." But because a lot of people are like, "Well, he still overthrew Mike Evans." Well, if you think Mike Evans is running a straight go down the seam right there, and he throws that up, Mike Evans is running a sprint, and Mike Evans can go up and get it. Tom's putting it.
He didn't overthrow him. He threw a different route. He thought Mike Evans was going to continue. So, yeah, technically, I guess. But, no, it wasn't like, hey, this is Mike Evans was running this route, and I just threw it too high. No, that wasn't it. They were just weren't on the same page.
But I even think if Mike Evans ran the route that Tom thought he was running, he was throwing that high on purpose so Mike would go and get it. So, like, I think there's a lot being calculated there between both of them. And you can see how a miscommunication could potentially result in a Jameis Winston. Let's go to Sam in New York. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, what's up, boys?
Just hanging out down there. What's going on with you there?
I'm a diehard Steelers fan out here in New York, just down there at Oakmont.
Oh, that's right down the road.
Good bakery.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good bars there and a golf course.
Nice golf course.
They live pretty
One
good.
thing that's not getting talked about, I think, about the game last night is with both linemen going down. If they're out next week, you're gonna have a rookie lineman Dawson starting that game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tough.
That's true.
Hey, big opportunity.
Hey, that's football, baby.
That's football.
Hey, next man up. So what now? What, AJ? Guy goes down, starting right tackle. It's his first time starting, tears his ACL. Okay, so what? Now what? Now it's your first time starting. And that's how Mike Tomlin acts, by the way. Mike Tomlin is one of the least appreciated head coaches in the NFL, in the history potentially, for how good he is, the teams he's been able to win with. And he does not deal with any bullshit. Like, he is just like, we are a football team. This is what we're doing. We're playing football. He doesn't like talking to the media. He doesn't like any of that. And I would assume his message to Zach Banner is like, hey, man, absolutely stinks what happened to you. We apologize. Get healthy. And then the next guy, he's like, hey, listen, your fucking time to get paid, kid, and we're either going to win or you're not. Like, that is, I feel like Tomlin has been very good at that type of situation. But the trenches, especially with Ben Roethlisberger, where he's at now with a potential hurt knee already, with a walking boot probably coming, an arm sleeve that the internet obviously abused him for because of information we learned just a couple weeks ago. He's going to need to be protected in there, and the offensive line for the Steelers is normally pretty good. And then now there's a lot of question marks. It just happens after week one. That's tough stuff.
That's what Mike Tomlin does, though. He finds a way to win with whoever he has to plug in the lineup. Last year is a prime example of that with the quarterback situation. So, yeah, I mean, do you worry? I would absolutely worry. I mean, the Packers had a couple of linemen go down as well. They had to shuffle some dudes around. That would be my biggest concern. Remember Coach yesterday, Pat? Like, all great teams, he felt like are run through the big guys up front, the O-line and the D-line. I think that can definitely happen in college a lot. And in the NFL, it's not as much like they're the leaders of the team, but I think they can definitely set like the tone and create the identity of the team, the offensive line and defensive line. If they're big monsters that are known to be physical and play through the whistle, that can have a huge impact on the rest of the team.
Quentin Nelson changed the entire culture of the Indianapolis Colts when he was drafted, including the offensive line. It was a massive ordeal. Now let's hope Philip Rivers throws the ball to the Colts this week. We're wrapping up here. Hour 3 on Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. Absolute legendary station. We're lucky to be here. Stop talking shit to us about us, though, on Mad Dog Show whenever you call in. Please. I mean, it'd be really nice.
Give it a rest.
What's that?
Callers are calling in talking about your show.
Still happening. Still happening.
What do they want? Do they want you to pick up the phone 100 times? Like, what do they want?
No,
what does Mad Dog say?
I haven't heard the responses. I've only seen the tweets from people telling people to stop calling in and bitching about our show because we don't know how to break this to you. 95 more weeks. It's going to be a little bit. 95 more weeks.
Oh, they're going to hate Rodgers dropping an F-bomb, too.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
How
my.
could he?
It was a good F-bomb.
Does he not know that when he doesn't swear and he doesn't talk like his real feelings and he's guarded and sheltered and changes the way he talks because he's on Mad Dog Radio, that it's not good radio? That is bad radio. That is not what we want to hear. We want to hear people not speaking how they actually feel. We want to hear people cliche, fake-ass, bullshit fucking answers every single day. That's what we want to hear. Those are only some people, by the way.
Yeah.
Majority of Mad Dog Radio, the Fouls, from what I've been heard, I believe they have been very supportive.
Great people.
And we're lucky to be here. But yeah, people are still bitching about us, AJ. I mean, by the way, hey, if they ain't talking about you, they don't know you exist. Okay? hey, keep on talking. Zito, how did our poll end up today as we wrap up the show? Zito's poll today was, are kickers just going to stink forever? Because it does feel like that, and I hope we get out of this rut.
Yeah, it looked like it went back up to, 59% yes, 41% no. So your speech was helping it.
It has gotten close. AJ, the kickers have stunk worse than they have ever happened in week one. 19 missed kicks, 5 missed extra points. And in the last 10 years, the closest year was 12 missed kicks and like 4 missed extra points. I was in a couple years back. It's been bad. And last night, it cost a lot of people a lot of money, including myself, with that Titans non-cover. But boy, it's going to cost some people some jobs, including the kickers and coaches, if these kickers keep missing kicks.
How about we just move the extra point back up to the original spot? Don't you think that would help?
I think it would help mentally, too, because guys used to be able to go out there and hit like 65.
Rhythm, right?
Yeah, you get in a rhythm, get a shot in there, you go ahead and knock it through. No matter how I hit this thing, it's probably going to skirt through. Oh, the esteem, the morale is going up. And I did not expect it moving back 13 yards or whatever, being this big of a mental fuck for some kickers. But I do believe it has happened. And I'm not kicking in the NFL. I've never kicked in the NFL. So I'm not 100% sure to speak from my own experience. But with Vinatieri, he tried to treat every single kick the exact same. I would assume getting out on the field and getting a chance to go ahead and just bunt a couple through, see the ball go through the uprights. It's just like a shooter whenever he sees the ball go through the net, you probably feel a lot better. I think if you want field goal percentage to go up, moving the extra point up is probably a smart move. But also kickers, get it together. A little mental toughness. Just kick. There's not too many balls that you would make from 20 that you would miss from 33 in those extra points. It's just not that big of a difference whenever you really think about it. But it seems like mentally it is completely slaughtered some people's. And I hate it. There's a guy named Taylor Russolino out there who's a battle hawk. He needs to get signed.
Bring him in.
He's unbelievable. AJ, can't wait to talk to you, Manana, brother, on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Channel 82.
Appreciate it.
We'll probably stick around after for a little after conversation on the YouTube. Can't wait to chat with you about that. We'll judge the NFL's ESPN NFL Power Rankings for sure. Can't wait to do that.
Yes.
Coming up next on Channel 82 here, Sirius XM, Mad Dog. He's an absolute living legend in the sports talk world. Oh no, the music. Chris Mad Dog Russo. He'll be joining. I have no idea who his guests are because I should do a little bit more research, but get a chance to listen to a wizard rock the mic in the sports world on Channel 82, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio immediately after this show ends in about 30 seconds. And you'll be able to listen to some idiots continue a conversation at YouTube. We appreciate everybody for listening and watching on this Tuesday, September 15th. Big thanks to Aaron Rodgers. Big thanks to Kirk Herbstreit. Big thanks to Darren Woodson, AJ Hawk, all the boys, and all of you for listening. All our callers were good as well. AJ, do you have anything to say to the people before we get out of here?
No, not a whole lot of that. I appreciate them listening and watching the show, and I'm glad to be a part of it, Pat. My hour, I'm with you.
We'll be back manana. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Chris Mad Dog Russo is next. Fucking nailed it, AJ. Killed it. Just right on time. I mean, that is how you do it.
New radio, you nailed the post, right?
I did. I hit it right. I mean, just hit it square.
Right on the screws.
I had to fill a little bit, because I was trying to add a little bit more time because the last couple of days I have forgotten to introduce the next show host. And the next show host is the guy that actually the channel is named after. Yeah. So I do believe introing him would probably be the right thing to do, like Adam Shine does for us every single day. You know what I mean, AJ?
Yeah. Have you ever heard the term vamp?
Vamp up?
No, I heard of glamping, which is when it's like glamorous camping. You have like a really nice house and you go outside, but you act like you don't have electricity for like 95% of the day. Then when you have to sleep, you go inside in the heated thing, and then you're camping, but it's actually glamping. Vamping, is that a van? Is it a van?
No, vamp. It's like a broadcasting term for just like to just talk, waste some time. Like if you have 20 seconds until the commercial, just vamp here for a little bit and get us to the break.
Oh, I never heard of that.
I still can't figure out why it was a term, why I've heard it, but yeah, it's a thing.
Did your ears get blown out every time I take this thing off and it starts making a high-pitched sound because the sound is going into the microphone? I did it when Aaron was on. I thought I blew out his ears.
I didn't hear it when he was on. No, I don't think we could hear it.
Oh, God, it blows up my ears. It's bad. Is it in here, too? Do you guys
yeah. We get it.
It is tough. It's like stabbing in the ears. Oh, can't do that. All right, let's answer these calls that we have on, AJ. Do you mind doing that? And then we'll react to the ESPN NFL Power Rankings because I have not seen them. I'm excited for our first immediate reaction to them.
I haven't seen them either, so I'm very excited. I'm a big Power Rankings guy.
Oh, yeah. I like judging the judgers. You know what I mean? This power ranking thing, it doesn't matter where the teams lie. I'm judging the people that are making the decisions specifically. Why'd you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Let's go to Dominic over there in Arizona. What's going on, Dominic? Hey, Bird Gang, Cardinals really, really taking off this year.
Hey, Pat, thanks. Actually, I'm holding it down for the horseshoe over here in Arizona. Not that any of us like the Colts out here, but, I got to represent. I have a question, though. I got to know, are you going to save the day for the kickers and strap up the old cannon and come in and maybe, come out of retirement?
I don't know my body fat percentage right now, but I'm probably 17 to 20 days away from being able to get back in the
It's not too far away. I mean, week 4, they could use you.
That's not too bad. I haven't kicked a field goal, though, since last year whenever I thought about potentially getting back into the league, allegedly, to the Bears. I don't know, because the last thing I would want to do, because I'm able to talk about them not doing great. If I was to go out there and just fucking spray that thing all over the place, it'd be very difficult. I mean, I retired after making a Pro Bowl. There's always the thought like, I could go back if I wanted to. If I was to go back and do something that I'm not prepared to do, which would probably take a few months to get back in there, and I suck, like the allure of all of that is gone, It's like I come walking back into the studio like, well, here's the next 30 fucking years because I can't do anything else. You know what I mean? Like that is a real thing. But the kickers are bad right now, AJ. It's bad. I've never seen it like this.
It's mental, right? It's a mental thing going on. What is it?
Well, it's not just misses too. They're bad balls. And Ninja's getting back in the game. And listen, Ninja and I had a little bit of an interaction, obviously, a year ago when he said this about how many things are in play. Because if it would be like a Fortnite player having to snipe somebody in the forehead every single time for it to only be a way to kill somebody. Because that's what kicking a football is. You got to hit it like with this much. The ball is moving. There's a snap, and you got to watch the snap and the hold. And obviously, there's people running at you and millions of people watching and money on the line. There's a lot going on. But this year, I understand what he's saying. The kickers have been next level bad, and I don't like it, AJ. I don't like it, not one bit. Not one bit.
I don't like seeing the missed extra points because then I feel like you open up for, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Like, especially if a team's dominating, they miss 2 extra points, and you feel like, all right, well, even though this team is probably a lot better than the team they're playing, the other team can hang around and have a chance to win.
My freshman year at West Virginia, I had a massive leg. I just had no idea where I was going. Kind of throughout my entire college career there. My freshman year, though, I had a pretty good start. I think I missed like a 47-yarder on the right hash against Syracuse against ABC opening weekend. We're the game of the day or whatever at noon kickoff on ABC. I missed like a 48-yarder going into the half, maybe 47-yarder on the right hash. And I go into the locker room, and I got a lot of people like, hey, you'll be okay, or whatever. And I'm like so mad that I missed because in high school I never missed. Right, I never ever missed in high school. Because the uprights in high school are the size of a building. It is, if you miss in high school, you really had to try to miss or whatever. It wasn't until a couple weeks later I missed an extra point. I pushed it right, and a senior offensive lineman turned around. He was jogging off the field, right? He just, guy tried to kill him. They just walked down the field or whatever and scored. Fourth quarter, dude is dead, obviously tired, and he just got ran over basically as I'm kicking. And he would block, and I would kick, and then he would just jog off field. Didn't even give me like a dap up or anything, just like classic old school meathead offensive lineman or whatever. He's jogging off the field, and he didn't know that I'd missed, and they announced kick is no good or whatever, and he stopped in the middle of the field, and he turned and looked at me, and he said, you don't miss fucking extra points, you hear me? And I was like, I didn't try. You got it. And then he just jogged off. And it was always just like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. All the work you put in going down that field, everything that guy had to go through. He's probably had a broken finger at that point. He's bleeding all over the place. And then the extra point you just miss, it's just like, I'll never forget. It was stopped in the middle of the field and just looked at me and said, you don't miss Buccaneer. And I was like, yeah. Yep, no, I don't.
Yes, sir.
No, but I did, again. And I just, whenever I saw it not go in, I just kind of just went right back. I was like, I'm going to get away from that guy. So
what did he say the second time? Did he
no,
remind you?
I left.
Oh, okay.
There was no.
I am gone. No, listen, I didn't want to miss, but I also didn't want to catch that again. So we made one mistake already. Let's not make it two, pal. Let's go ahead and get better. But yeah, you're 100% right. The extra point thing, especially with the history of football, that was just like a gimme there for a while for most NFL guys, almost all guys. Now it's like, well, team could win this game if they just hit an extra point here. It's like 33-yard ball is all of a sudden very, very, very important. Let's go to Corbin in Iowa. What's going on, Corbin?
Hey, guys. Love the show. I just want to tell you the biggest overreaction in college football this week. Big 12 is god-awful.
Bad.
It's true. Have been for a while.
Oh, is that overreaction?
Okay.
I agree.
Oklahoma's good.
He was in Iowa. Obviously, Iowa fan. Iowa State loses week one. But guess what? Iowa State playing football. Iowa not playing football.
Sounds like October 17th or 24th. Hawks are going to be back on the field.
It sure sounds like Herbie alluded to that. He was like, the rumor's always been October 17th, October 24th. And we told him the Nebraska guy on the hot mic says that we're making an announcement about Nebraska football, Big Ten football. Big Ten football is about to be back, AJ. Big news over there in Ohio, I'd assume. General Bob Carpenter and the cult of the Ohio State and the other Big Ten fan bases that picketed, marched, tweeted, yelled, everything you could possibly think, emailing, actually mailing, everything that they could do to protest this decision to postpone the football season has worked. It seems like tonight they are announcing Big Ten football is back. Please tell General Bob Carpenter we said, congratulations, sir.
I will have to tell Bob that, but I think here, at least in Ohio, as you guys are still saluting for General Bob, which he loves, I think it's a great gimmick that we have going on. Until the actual news is announced that they're coming back, I don't think people have enough faith in these people making the votes that they're going to actually say yes. Let's go ahead and play in October, whether you said the 17th or the 24th. Give them enough time to get into the college football playoff. I think it's almost like we're sitting here scared, like, I don't know. What if they come back and say, no, we voted it down? Then you're truly crushed. Like the roller coaster of emotions you've been on the last month trying to get this thing going again.
What if that Nebraska president who was caught on a hype mic this morning said, we're planning to make an announcement about Husker football and Big Ten football tonight or whatever? What if he was just trolling? Like, what if he was just
he was standing at a podium directly over a microphone talking to somebody else. How do you not at least assume this thing is on somewhere?
Well, you got to think back to the Mets guy who basically just buried Rob Manfred and then buried the Wilpons. And then now, by the way, who cares? New owner Steve Cohen is now the owner of the Mets. Congratulations to Mets fans.
They seem to have.
And Steve Cohen, by the way, you own a baseball.
Hey, they're crushing.
We know nothing about that guy. Could be a terrible guy. I have no idea.
Probably
He's
is.
a couple $1 billion. I'd assume billionaires always have some sort of something cooking up. But new ownership in the Mets going to turn around. Yankees no longer the team of the city. The Mets are about to take over with Steve Cohen in charge.
Yeah, they got a ways to go before that happens.
Let's go to Brett in Buffalo. Maybe they should start playing fucking Tim Tebow. Brett, what do you want to talk about?
Gentlemen, how are you now?
Talk to the ones here.
We're hanging out as well.
Doing this. Good to hear. Good to hear. This is something I wanted to hit last week, but didn't get a chance to. On the targeting specifically the whole Dak Prescott and in my best Shannon Sharp impression, skip situation.
That wasn't bad. Skip.
It's not my.
Hold
best.
on.
Skip.
That's what we're doing.
What's the
different than
skip?
Specifically to Pat and AJ here. What is the status of mental health, do you think, in the league? Like, do teams take it seriously? Do organizations take it seriously? Or is because football is like such a macho sport, people are like, depression, not real. Go fuck shit up.
Great question there, Brett. And this was brought up because of Skip Bayless and his reaction to Dak Prescott. And I would assume probably 10 years ago, maybe not so much a worry or even a conversation piece, but towards the end of my career, I think every team had to have a sports psychologist either in the building once a week or on a part of the payroll somehow. So I think it was something that the NFL took a pretty big initiative in, especially whenever the lawsuits started coming because of potential CTE and the brain trauma that was studies were coming out and how the game could change people. So I do believe the NFL and the NFLPA reached an agreement of some sort towards the end of my career. I don't know what it is now, if they're on staff or whatever, but we had a sports psychologist come in every single week, and I would assume that I don't remember if they had people sign up or they were referred or what it was. I don't remember how it all went, but I do remember a sports psychologist coming in towards the end of my career.
I remember the same thing. Yeah, they would bring people in the off season to go over it'd be different like meditation type things, ways to handle stress, ways to handle anxiety. So yeah, I think you're right. 10 years ago, no, like keep your mouth shut, just shut up, keep it moving, try to hold on to your job. And I think now, because more professional athletes in all different sports have come out and talked about their struggles that they have had mentally, I think the NFL is definitely aware of it. And we talked to Coach yesterday at Georgia Tech. He talked about their director of applied sciences on the sideline pumping up his kicker before he was going out to make a big field goal. So yeah, I think it's taken seriously all over now. And I'm sure they're actually like digging in more with players and saying like, instead of just like the surface stuff, I bet they do talk more and have more real conversations about how you're doing and your family and what's going on. And they actually care. Like I think there's people around facilities now like that may be hired by the team, but they're there for the players and they're not going to go and snitch to the coaches and the front office on what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if any player would ever trust that person, but I do believe like the doctors that get called in, I think it's a lot like not only professional athletes are starting to admit that they potentially like the rest of society have some mental health things that they have to battle through. But I think the world's starting to understand it and take it a lot more serious. And I think as the world started understanding more about the way the brain operates, I think that's the more that the NFL started taking it serious than everybody else. I don't think they were behind in it. A lot of people will say that they think because of the lawsuits, the NFL got in it. I don't think that's the case. I think just society learned a lot more about the brain, and I think there was more and more research being done. And the NFL kind of just went alongside that. And I think a lot of guys that I remember that met with the sports psychologist learned different ways to frame situations and handle different situations, and not only on the field, but obviously off the field. I think both ways as well. So I think the NFL has actually done a pretty good job with that. I don't know what it is like now. I have been out a couple years, but towards the end of it seemed like a lot more people cared about how people were doing.
Did they monitor guys who would get concussions and stuff just in case there was some sort of change in in their mental state or no?
I don't know. AJ, you
monitor their mental state to see when they can get back on the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I don't know about that. I've never got one. AJ said he never got one. I mean, so we're not 100% know.
It wasn't the NFL didn't even have to. It wasn't like a lawsuit thing. I think the teams were the first ones to go out. Like the forward-thinking coach is like, okay, what can I need every possible resource to set my players in position to make plays and for us to win games because that's good for everybody here. And so I think individual teams start going out there and finding these different avenues, bringing different people in, and then everyone, you know how it goes. It's copycat. We see this team's doing that. Well, yeah, of course we're going to do that too.
Nutritionists too. I mean, nutritionists started to become very
schedules. You know, a lot of teams right now they're not practicing on Fridays and they're having those like super fast, quick Saturday practices because the science behind it shows something about how it triggers the muscles and your instincts and whatever.
Man. That nutritionist fucking ruined everything. Let's go to Matt in California. I mean, I'm sure it's good now because it's just like the standard. But boy, when you live through like the good old days and then all of a sudden a nutritionist comes in and says nothing can taste good anymore. It's like, I mean, that was my routine. Okay, doc. Okay.
Screwing it up,
I had
doc.
to have pizza and wings the night before a game with nacho cheese on my fries. Okay, I had to. This is what I tried to diet all week for this night.
Yes.
Now you got me a kale salad.
Come on, get out.
Are we not working our asses off to eat nacho cheese on fries the night before the game? Well, science has said that it makes you slower, more blah, 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 blah. I don't need any of that. I just got to kick a ball.
Science isn't eating.
Are you part of the team or not? Well, I guess. This, by the way, not my nutrition, but I'm part of the team, not my nutrition. But then obviously you change, and then once you start realizing you sleep better and you woke up with more energy, you didn't feel that. It's like, okay, I get it, but is this going to make me kick a ball further? That's all I want to know. And it turned out it did, by the way. It turned out it worked. But I was one of those old whites that was not here for the new modern nutrition, terrible tasting bullshit the night before the game.
Ocho Cinco was eating McDonald's for every single meal, and he was going out and getting 10 catches, 150 yards every game.
There's a lot of dudes that eat a lot of McDonald's that look a lot differently than you would expect them to look.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. Let's go to Matt in California. What do you want to talk about, bub?
Hey, Pat. Hey, AJ and the boys. Hope you guys are all having a great Tuesday.
Hey, man.
What's up? I wanted to run to two questions about you. One is for you and AJ, and then one's for all the boys to chime in on. For Pat, for you and AJ, how important is it to stay or possibly retire with the team that drafted you? I know, AJ, you were with Green Bay and then went to Cincinnati. First, Pat, you stayed with the Colts. So I want to know what that means to a player. And
Great question, Matt. The thought of staying with one team is a big deal. For me, I never really wanted to go anywhere else, even when I was going into free agency. I think Kyle Rudolph said this last week, 2 weeks ago when he was on the show. He said free agency, going somewhere else, never really was something he thought about. For me, the same thing. My network here in Indianapolis, my friends group, my lady obviously from here, my business, I was able to do a lot of things business-wise. I never wanted to leave Indianapolis because I didn't know how it would go. But then there became a point where I hated going to work, but I was still good. And I wasn't at the point where I was like, you know what, I'll just retire, where I thought about potentially going somewhere else or maybe even asking for a trade at one point I thought about doing. But then I got to the point where I was like, I'd rather just retire than play somewhere else. And that was just, for me personally, I think every player is different. I think some people, it means a lot. Robert Mathis, he was very, very intent on remaining a Colt the entire time, his entire career. A lot of guys are that way. Some guys don't mind. I think it's just all situational. AJ, you got to play at a couple different places. What's your take on that?
I never really gave it much thought. I was very lucky to be drafted by Green Bay, and we won a lot of games. It's a great organization, and play with obviously Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. Yeah, I understood how lucky I was. So I wanted to stay there forever because of how well the organization was run, how many games we were winning all the time. We always had a chance when you have Aaron. But I wasn't like stuck on, hey, I'm going to retire a Packer. I was realistic from the day I walked in. Like, they could cut me at any moment. I understand that. And after my 9th year is when I was released in Green Bay, and I wasn't worried about like going to another team, but I knew I wanted to still play. Like I wasn't going to be okay not playing anymore. And for me, it was different too. I went to Cincinnati. I grew up a Bengals fan. I grew up 40 minutes from there. I live a little over an hour away from there now. So I went to Cincinnati, and after that year, after my 10th year in Cincinnati, I was okay to be done. Like I was like, at this point last year, no, I didn't. After I was done with Green Bay, I was like, man, it sucks. I wish I was still in Green Bay. I knew it was coming, but I'd prepared for it forever. But I still wanted to play. And I would say, if you still want to play, hey, sometimes your only option is to go play for another team.
So when you played for the Green Bay Packers, you guys have to get in your car and drive to practice. And then when you played for the Cincinnati Bengals, you don't have an indoor practice facility. I would assume that you had a very different NFL experience than a lot of people, obviously.
Yeah, I did. I was glad to see. For me, it was cool to see what it was like in another organization. Like that was cool. You assume whatever you're in, like I was in for 9 years in Green Bay, you assume like, yeah, this is how it is everywhere. And to an extent, yes, it is. Everyone has a similar kind of schedule, what they do throughout the week. But the little things are what's different, like how they handle certain things, how much you wear pads, or we weren't pants during training camp, we were wearing shoulder pads and shorts. Guess what? That's a big deal. Like full pads in Cincinnati meant we're wearing our pants with pads in it and our shoulder pads. But then shells was just your shoulder pads. And we only went full pads twice maybe during training camp. When in Green Bay, you're wearing pants every single day with your shoulder pads.
Oh, those are the worst days. Some reason putting those pants on is just a full different feeling. It is just a completely shorts.
You feel restricted. You feel weird.
Yeah. Let's go to Joe Radier. Radier. Joe Radier. Radier.
Joe Raider, man.
Mitt.
Joe Raider.
Mitt. It's Radier right here. Sorry about that, Joe Raider. What's going on, Bob?
It's all good. Don't give Mitt a hard time. He's doing his best. He's picking up Connor's slack, is he not?
Not really. He has Joe Radier right here as your name.
Roddy, okay, but all right, Stooge Mitt for the day then. But anyway.
Hey, way to turn on him, by the way. No loyalty to Mitt, I've learned.
I love you, Mitt. I love you. But hey, Hot Take Tuesday.
Flip-flop.
I got 3 hot takes for you, Pat. Okay.
3. Joe. Fuck, Joe. Do we have time for 3 of these things, Joe?
Real quick, hey, hot take. Number 1, Raiders going to blow out the Saints Monday Night Football. Derek Carr, comeback player of the year.
Okay.
And playoffs for the Raiders. That's how I see it.
They're all hot takes because none of them are likely to come true. From us to you, we can't thank you enough for watching. If you are a McAfee Mafia member, please look out for the discount code that we gave out to members only. I think it's 25% off, so you're actually saving more money than it cost you to become a member here. We'll be having exclusive content for our members. I cannot wait to get that started. We're actually building a studio at my house right now.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Looks good.
It's starting to look really good up there. So we'll be able to do some really cool shit. We hope you join us over there. AJ, I can't thank you enough, brother. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. I assume we'll react to the ESPN NFL rankings tomorrow.
Yes.
And more things will happen in the sports world. From all of us to all of you, you're the greatest humans on earth. Cheers. Have a great Tuesday, September 15th.